Started to mention the economy, that it is a factor, but actually coming back to that, because we are ready, it looks like already the teams against us locked in for overpass. It's going to be incredible to watch. The T side from NiP is something to be certainly not underestimated. And ladies and gents, I do believe we are live into the game. So here we go, Luminosity on the CT side, NiP on the T side. And Blue, what are we seeing so far?
And is in pajamas, starting things off on the T side, are going to start themselves off in the upper tunnels. For there, Peak comes out there, they spot FNX. Not going to be moving out too much just as of yet, but they do connect a little bit of damage onto this aggressive player from the CT side.
And Luminosity, incredibly aggressive at this point. 3 players push forward, almost trying to bait in. I think that was FNX who kind of just like toyed with them a little bit. Sets up Fur to just destroy Forest, but can he make it out alive? Question certainly no. Pit's going to punish him, Fur goes down, and now Luminosity need to respond, and they're doing just fine. Falling back perfectly, resetting the fights, and allowing Fallen just to get into the right place.
Fallen had held quite nicely inside of the connector there, dropping another one, and this is great too because they get so aggressive. They're not going to be expecting the player to be over there around the corner, back by Long. Taco picking up 2, back by the trash bin, and now there's 1 left alive. It's going to be Exist. He's taken down. FNX will close things out in the pistol, and Luminosity gain the lead.
And let's talk that through, because that was so beautifully played. That aggression at the start, almost baiting FNX a little bit, then saying, guys, just go for that challenge, let them walk up to Fountain, and that's where you saw the punish coming out.
It's interesting, right? Because you think NiP have the read on it, and the fact that they're not going out so quickly to take these duels out in the open. They're actually holding back. They want to watch for that early aggression. But finally, when they decide to creep outside of the upper tunnels, they don't realize that there's a player camping just around the corner outside of the playground there, and that gives them their first kill. Things just go to chaos from there. But when it comes to the 1v1s, Luminosity definitely end up on top. So they're going to gain the edge here.
All right, NiP going back in on the Tech 9 buy-up. No real surprise. And it's going to be FNX with 4 plays to find this. The flash didn't work at all. FNX completely able to see this, so they push through. Nate does some great damage. And FNX needs to be careful, but oh, just a little bit of style points there towards Pit, leaving just 2 standing. Get right and Exist. They do recover at least 1 SMG for a couple of seconds, but FNX readjusts well, and now it's down to Exist again. Last man standing. He does have the armor, a nade, but FNX is looking for the ace here. He's already got 4. Will he get the 5th?
Trying to creep his way around now, but ultimately not a whole lot for him to find. He's been spotted back down by the bottom of Long, and now with 6 HP. Good nade toss. Almost going to connect on FNX, but ultimately he will survive with just 4 HP. That'll take down Exist to end the round. That's going to be the ace from FNX, I do believe.
What a sick start from Luminosity. And look at this again, that flash put into play just didn't seem to do any difference at this point. Following nade did so much damage, it was just kind of a setup, and there's your style points just to add to it. So great stuff from Luminosity. They lost out, I think, on the 1 player who had the SMG anyway. At the, there was a UMP as well, but the MP9 did get removed from Fur, but that's no real loss. And now the clean eco coming out from NiP. And I can imagine Fur's going to be hunting for this, joining maybe by coldzera, just to try and build up that bank.
And NiP giving them a lot of respect now here in the 3rd round, literally not investing into anything whatsoever. They're just going to be waiting for the first gun round this time, since they really haven't had a whole lot of luck with getting to the site at all, unfortunately. So we're looking for that first kill, and they just line right up. Someone's even trying to chase him there. Freiberg will be able to take him down with a triple tap on the Glock, but then FNX comes in, shuts things down on his own, finds the final 2 kills, and LG will get the clean 3-0 start.
Look at the money already building up. FNX on 7K, you've got people on 5 already, and this is certainly going to help out further with just the spray down. Of course, no armor on NiP in such a close sort of quarters area is going to pretty much equate to that. But this is the important one to keep your eyes on. How to now NiP approach this round? All rifles, good bit of utility there. We still see the SMG with coldzera as well, so maybe himself just looking towards getting that AWP going if he can possibly. An early smoke down towards the bathrooms, towards that short push towards A. And again, there will be some play from Fur and FNX to begin with. Fur's gone and found Get Right. You can see the instant reaction trying to come out from NiP to try and pincer in, but Luminosity do the damage and try and get away. Pit does catch Fur in the heels. Can't get the follow-up. Fallen is there. And now 4v3. This game is certainly getting off to a big start.
Luminosity sort of corralled inside of the B-bomb site for a second, but they do get out of here. Now FNX getting the sneaky peek there, manages to roll right out, shuts down Exist, and that's the bomb too. However, Forest finds the response. FNX leaves himself out in the open while trying to retreat, and he's going to find that tray now, leaving it in a 3-on-2 for Luminosity.
Taco. Forest going to be meeting up on Long and Taco. Taco, you got to be hitting those shots. Don't get going on this one. All right, we're down to 2v2. Forest has brought this actually back into a position where we could see something interesting, but already with coldzera going on that flank, getting so much information, Fallen just lines up Forest and knocks him out. And now Freiberg left in the 1v2. He gets pinned to the wall, and that's the first big gun round going Luminosity's way. 4-0 now, 2 players left standing, still keeping that AWP in Fallen's hand. Gonna keep that economy nice and high.
Bit of a slip up there with Taco's play, but thankfully he's got plenty of cash in the bank. No trouble rebounding that at all. And Fur knows that NiP are going to be on an eco here. So he's going to be trying to stack up some cash now by going back to the SMG buy. Not a whole lot behind it either. So if he goes down, that's not a big loss at all. You can bet he's going to try to get aggressive and screw up whatever NiP will be throwing at LG this round. Looks like a pretty direct play over towards the B-bomb site.
And look how aggressive as well Luminosity are going. They're not just sitting back because they know they're probably on these Tech 9 buys. Fallen could get overrun here. This is actually pretty dangerous, but then again, it is Fallen, and he does have the orb. It's just unleashing Fur from underpass. He will get straight out in the end. Forest going to do a little bit of damage with that P250, and that's about all they're going to get here. Luminosity keep 4 alive. NiP not quite able to get too much money nor overwhelm Fallen.
There's some great aggression coming out at the beginning of the round from Luminosity that's just absolutely decimating NiP's plans for the early round here. Unfortunately, because of how consistent it is from Luminosity too, they're not really giving it up so much. They're having trouble responding to it and actually finding a way to get themselves close to these sites, let alone get that bomb down, which I don't even know if we've even seen NiP find a plan as of yet. I don't think they've even gotten onto the site, really.
They've been pretty much stopped in their tracks, so Pit going to just drop out that molly, try and deny anyone pushing up close from short, allow those players who are working their way through the underpass area to try and get there safely, but there's the aggression again. Fur catches him with the pants down, drops out the nade, and look at the damage already. This is the full buy round. This is with all the mollies that they could want, and still starting off with even just a touch of a loss is such a deficit, but it looks like NiP are going to try and respond, try and get some bathroom control, as that double stack on long might get pressured.
So, as we take a look here at LG, they are starting to fall back a little bit. NiP have slowed down tremendously as well here. Everybody's sort of corralled right now inside of the connector and further back down by the fountain.
And I have to point out how much room coldzera has been able to get. He's been consistently pushing through this B area, constantly getting all the info. Like, guys, there's no oncoming monster. The worst that could happen is maybe they come up short. You know they're coming A. They can cheat those 3 players over towards A so early now.
So we're seeing NiP slowly shift themselves up over here towards long A, trying to push themselves out towards it now, but there's going to be a lot of resistance coming in from Luminosity if they do try to push. They've got Fallen out over here in long. FNX as well is ready to try and throw some aggression here too, but he's also ready to support back by the box. He's maybe got Fur pushed up, so this could be a rough one for NiP, unless they find these early entries in as well. They really only have smokes to get into the site. Beyond that, a couple mollies to try and force players out of positions, but not really anything beyond that too. So post plants are going to be a little bit rough if they actually get into the site.
Yeah, rough might be the understatement here. Look at these players. The FNX and Fur combo could just shred down NiP, and NiP are running this clock incredibly low, down to 20 seconds. Here comes the execute. There is FNX. Will they expect Fur? Get right finds him. That's Fur gone. Now it's down to Fallen to just stop this where it starts. Dives through the smoke. Oh, Fallen! What a shot towards Forest. Now 2v2. And NiP have a good shot at this, but look at that time. 6 seconds left. Taco finds Exist, and coldzera just eradicates Get Right. And Luminosity, even under pressure, able to put so many players towards A so early on. They keep control of this, and there's the timeout coming in. I'm pretty sure they need to discuss this, but Fallen shot. This guy, look at the confidence he goes for in this. Just dives through the smoke, still finds Forest and almost gets away with his life. But by that point, he bought so much time for the others to get in. Also,
NiP running down the clock just so low at that point, too. The problem is that they don't really assign anybody to watch for the flank, so that just rolls right back up through connector because they don't have anybody back down closer to B to lurk or punish it. And with that, they're very easily able to just roll right back up and prevent them from planting the bomb once again, essentially.
And the irony being that if you look at Luminosity on their CT side, I'm pretty sure it's Taco who constantly makes his way either through Monster, pushes up quite aggressively, always put himself in those positions to get that early information, or at least stop anyone playing out from that B site. So kind of, I guess, NiP just being corralled around, and unless they're able to deal with that aggression coming out from Luminosity, this is going to be a very rough ride. This is not the start we expected in any way, shape, or form. Considering this is NiP on the T side, this is normally where they're so good, they're so well played into this, but at the moment, Luminosity are reading them like a book.
And Luminosity as well just looks so dominant. We were talking about the question being if the individuals are going to be showing up here today, and we're already seeing that now. The very aggressive plays coming out from people like Fallen and whatnot, and they're not scared at all. They, like I said, they're staying there. They're trying to remain aggressive, even when they necessarily might not be the best guided play there, even with Fallen pushing back out. He goes out, he only finds 1 kill, but that kill causes so much chaos and gets so much momentum going. It draws all the attention from what could have maybe stopped the flank that was coming back up from LG back down through connector and whatnot. Had he not gone for that play, it's stuff like this which is giving LG the edge time after time again, and preventing NiP from really just getting anything done whatsoever. They do look like they're a bit of a mess right now on the T side.
Yeah, hopefully for them, they can discuss things through this timeout. If you're wondering why they're turning around, it's because Threat is just to their left. So they're just talking with Threat, trying to just find out, okay, well, how do we fix this? How do we stop this? Do we just need to play a little more default? Try and just stop them being able to push out aggressively, try and win some of these trades. They need to discuss it because 6-0, it's not actually a bad scoreline at this point, but considering this is the semifinals, this is where you want to start actually really pressuring people like Luminosity. it's not what you want to be seeing if you're an NiP fan. So for Luminosity there, they can just sit down and discuss, well, what would NiP do? What are they going to do coming into this? Do we still play the same? Do we get more aggressive? Do we sit super passively? They can still adapt themselves in this timeout.
I can imagine that we're going to see Luminosity maybe just chill out a little bit here, depending on what NiP decide to go for here after the pause does conclude. Because now with things maybe changing up drastically, they don't want to take a risk on being out in positions. NiP were playing things pretty predictably up to a certain point there. They would either just go directly up to setup for a site take, or they'd be hanging back waiting for that aggression to come in. The other problem too for NiP, which is just, I mean, it's fairly obvious, it's just the one-on-ones. They're not really winning any of them here. Every time we see that aggressive player peek out, NiP are caught off guard, and we either see a free kill coming out for Luminosity, or the guys just end up winning the 1v1 there. They're able to retreat, maybe a trade coming out, but most of the time they're still going to end up with a 1 or 2 man advantage, which is hurting their ability to get into these sites to begin with.
NiP, you better come up with something pretty darn impressive by this point. As Luminosity already look like they mean business. This is not the Luminosity we saw in groups. This is aggressive. This is very much on point. Shots are hitting. We're seeing everything coming together. So now NiP, if they even considered maybe would get the team that we saw in the groups, they need to rethink that as well, because that is certainly not what we're going to come through. But then again, if you'd argue it, this would be Luminosity's map out of the two on paper. You'd argue that this is one they should be winning. I think it's just not in this sort of landslide so far.
That's what's going to become the problem, right? Is if this just becomes an absolute shutdown in the favor of LG, then what form is NiP going to be looking like heading on to Dust 2? Because if these guys are feeling all discouraged and whatnot going on to Dust 2, it's going to be like, that's a map that can play to the individuals pretty heavily. Yeah. Especially since that's essentially how we see that map played all the time in North America. So if NiP are coming into this, or no, apologies, if LG are coming into that one feeling great and NiP are moving into that match just feeling awful because they get just destroyed here in map number 1, then it could end up being a quick 2-0 in the favor of Luminosity. Which
would be pretty tragic if I'm honest, because these two are the recent champions of the bigger events just gone. You had obviously Malmo coming in, you had the majors, all these big events. These were the two defining champions. So if it is a landslide, it really is a questionable point for NiP. I'm hoping they come up with something good here. This is where I want to see the impact of threat, because this guy has been doing wonders with this team. I think we're almost ready to get back into this one. The timeout, I think, has been working its way down. So yeah, this is where we see the impact. Can they come back into this with a nice adaptation that can maybe focus down Luminosity here? Because already that money's going to be pretty well set for Luminosity, so they can kind of suffer a couple of rounds, hopefully for them, and still work their way back in if it does come down that way.
The good news is there have been some pretty good trades coming out in the favor of NiP here and there, so the money's not, 100% satisfied here for LG, maybe making it through a round or two, but it's not anything absolutely crazy just as of yet. NiP, however, still struggling to, like I said, I still don't think we've seen a plant. Maybe we've had one or two, but I don't actually think we've had a single one come in as of yet. So considering that NiP's economy is in shambles still.
So the Tech9 buy-up comes out, and NiP, you could hear the double nades down towards underpass there. Just going to try and clear out the corners. And it looks like a bit of a pinch towards the B site. You do have coldzera pushed up pretty close. This crossfire is about to be tested, and it is going to be a bit of a 3-2 split coming up. Great flashes coming down, but it's still coldzera turns it in time. However, Freiburg and Forest do find the kills. That's Taco and coldzera gone. Finally, we might get a bomb plant. Fer doesn't fancy that. We'll trade out in the end, but now down to a 3v2. Finally, NiP have the advantage in Forest. Going to back away from the fire and flames and slow down the pace now. The bomb is still, though, lost on the site, so they need to recover that. And they're still Fallen holding very close by.
Yep, LG, though, very passive about it. They're not really trying to be, they're trying to actively move themselves in. And yeah, we do have a big flight coming in, too.
Oh, this is nuts. Exist is going like full man mode. If the timing is right and these two can slow him down, he'll be in the perfect spot for this. But timing is everything. Now Fallen gives away the game. Pit's just going to get it first. And now Exist might not even need to do anything, but if FNX hears him, he knows what's coming his way. Exist gets ruined. Now 1v2. FNX, here's the shots from Pit. And actually,
got him on the reload.
Just caught him out. What on earth? Hey, what were you doing in that 1v1? FNX is a really good shot at this. And there you go. Forest, a man of experience, not going to let that happen. Plays the time perfectly. And finally, NiP get one on the board. And it seems as though the crowd are pretty pleased with that. But again, there were some really questionable things. Then Pit just getting completely caught out on the reload after trying to bait in basically what happened. That's a little bit worrying to see. Hopefully he can calm himself down or just get over that, a little bit of a bump. But at the end of the day, NiP get one on the board. It was off the back of the Tech9 play. Let's see if they can keep this up now, because it looks like Luminosity are going aggressive again.
So obviously, as we were mentioning before, LG still with a very strong start. They're going, no problem whatsoever, getting their buys right back into the mix. Scatrite already out inside water, actually, too, very aggressive with his own positioning, and not going to be able to meet anybody from LG just as of yet, as now they're giving NiP a little bit of respect here. They've fallen back to quite a large degree. This has gone away from that more aggressive style. They're still out. They're still ready to take some duels over at long A and short A push, but definitely not anywhere near as far pushed out as we've seen in previous rounds.
Yeah, and so far at least coldzera hasn't been able to wander through B and get all that information. The flashes are pushing Luminosity a little bit further back. Fallen can't hold these angles anymore, so he's been kind of pressured here a little bit. And this slower start from NiP might pay off until, obviously, one of the B players maybe pushes out or they start getting that read into it. We'll see how this goes. Fallen, something with the point man at this, still quite far ahead. He could be isolated out here, but he is going to go for the challenge. This is kind of deadly. Pitt and Freiburg could be in trouble here if they walk out. Pitt's going to take the fight, and he is going to be punished indeed. Fallen going to back away. He does the damage. Just a bit of a drive-by. And now 5v4. Again, NiP going to have to operate at a loss.
Should have noted that the bomb was going down there too, which was the first peak. So now they have intel as to where that's been placed. Just going to be able to rotate in to try and counter out, I believe, a rotation going back down through the connector instead. But they're moving all the way back. They're giving up the A push completely, and if the guys from LG just want to push back out again, they're going to be able to spot that there's no presence here. So wrapping arm pretty quickly. Get Right's going to be joining them once again and moving in through construction, but this is definitely going to go into a very quick B hit. The good news is that it looks like Luminosity bid on this being still an A hit, so they're going to be pretty passive on this B site defense and should be able to get control of the site pretty easily.
You're absolutely spot on. It was passive, but now coldzera is playing on the edge of the smokes. That 9-second timer is now eradicated. The bomb has been planted, so this 5v4 actually might start working out. Forrest's going to claim Fallen and now look for more. Freiburg just spraying him from short. Does catch a little bit of damage towards first. He's going to back away. And this retake is getting a little tough here, but hunting Forrest is a great step in the right direction for Luminosity. As that bomb takes Freiburg, going to be holding his nerve. Exist going to get flanked out. He can't do any more. That was the flank coming through in the end, and that's a real huge loss now. And now Freiburg has to spray in. He's not spraying the bomb. Taco's holding it down. It's 2 seconds, and there you have it. You get it in the end. And Luminosity will win the round.
If he's at the bomb with only 2 HP, that smoke blocking off construction ends up messing those guys up. And we even saw it too. He was going for the spray, had him down low, but just couldn't find that last final bullet. So Luminosity, they're going to respond right back to things here. And NiP, unfortunately, are going to have themselves reset.
A silver lining, I guess you can look towards for NiP is the fact we're going to finally see Forrest towards the AWP. That was such a disappointment of the round, but again, these are going so close at this point. The money's going to be kind of worrying, and then first time we're seeing Forrest on the AWP, we're also going to see Fallen and coldzera both going for the double AWP, and there's the aggression. Forrest, just about being babysat by Exist then. Fer gets eliminated, so now 4v4, looking at what we have here, the early aggression is finally being met by NiP towards Luminosity, and now Forrest hopefully can start getting some work done, but look at Fallen already, so aggressive on this AWP, looking for the opposition so actively. They're getting so much map control.
And with Fer also grabbing Pit too before he got traded out by Exist, that's done a lot of damage. Forrest and Exist very low right now. So NiP have to slow things down big time, moving out. They're watching for that aggression, and this is what the early rounds has caused, essentially. They cannot move with confidence quickly into one of these bomb sites. They have to take it extremely slow. And keep in mind that FNX is already lined up to go for a flank through the connector. And if they don't have anybody watching that, this entire push could get destroyed.
And as soon as coldzera sees this, he's going to call for backup. And oh, 6 shot from Forrest takes out coldzera. That's the site free. No one else is this close by. There's 1 way in on the flank and 2 over by B. Rotate is coming in, but this shouldn't be a retake that Luminosity could pull off. They only have 1 flash to work with. They do have 2 kits. Freiburg is holding the push up here, so Freiburg's being the man to make first contact. He actually takes the fight, and he does adjust the spray well enough to connect towards Taco. And the 2 players left might have to consider their options here because they are drastically outnumbered, have no step towards the site now.
FNX still sitting back here too and Fallen, just trying to keep the illusion that he's still there so he can safely retreat back through the B site to get himself out. But they are giving this up. It's going to be another round for the NiP guys, as they'll be able to pick up a second. FNX chasing some exits, almost grabs one. They've gotten so close to picking up kills here. But it's going to be another one that doesn't look like it happens. And FNX, he's spotted, but just around the corner, he's able to escape for now. And it doesn't look like they're actively chasing him down, so we'll be making it out of the round with the rifle and the AWP sitting on Fallen still.
It's pretty imperative they are actually able to keep hold of those guns. They can try and reinforce around it. We do have a couple of drops coming out. 7-2 now.
Crowd seems conflicted.
They do. Looking at what we've got actually brought up for Luminosity, it's actually not great. Even still with those couple of drops that came through, Fer is going to be operating at a severe deficit, down to only the CZ, a bit of utility to boot. But I wouldn't put it past these guys. Again, look at Fallen's aggression. He's doing this so consistently, and he's getting so much early information now.
So checking that out. Not going to be spotting anything as of yet. Fer also not catching anything down there through the lower tunnels, but making a lot of noise, so we can see the spray back coming in there from Freiger at this point. And in the meantime, the remaining members of NiP are taking a lot of control of long A here, pushing themselves out towards it. FNX is going to be trying to watch that, smoking it off for the time being to get some good control, but not any further intel here. All he can do is try to ask for some assistance coming in for the other Luminosity members.
Luminosity being a little humbled in this one. Again, probably the buy going to be equating towards that, and it looks like NiP are going to get ready for what might be a set piece towards A. Exist there, gonna drop out the smoke. No one really working off the back of it, and still Fallen so desperate to find an opportunity here, but just missing out by a couple of seconds. But it is gonna open up the opportunity again for a flank. So if Luminosity can hold on to that A site for a couple of seconds, just slow it down, this could be a very effective retake from the rest of the guys working their way from B. So let's see how Taco, Fur, and the others deal with it. That's a brilliant start. Fur just taking
flashbang.
Get right. It's so perfect. Just buying so much time, making this hit towards the side disjointed, but Freiburg finally breaks the pattern. Fur is still going, but he's not the one to do the damage. It was coldzera, and it's still coldzera. 2 kills taking down Freiburg as well, leaving Forest in a 1v3, and this looks impossible as Fallen just sends Forest packing. And Luminosity just weathered the storm then, and sadly for NiP going in 1 by 1, those flashes just slowed them down so much.
NiP also took way too much time to dismantle that 2-man stack that was over by Semi as well. The first shot coming off, they don't check the short corner, and then the player with the CZ just goes in there, picks up the first kill, and it's almost like they go back and forth for a few seconds there, continuing to draw the attention. They didn't really move whatsoever at all, so NiP taking so long to do that, and it just buys the time for the Cavalry to rotate back down from the B site, and then it's just chasing down the players that are trying to save from NiP. So nicely handled there by LG. Great strat to play up over on that site. However, this round, that's a good shot that comes out very early on. Is going to do some amazing damage to get right.
Yeah, it does definitely send him a little bit, you know, further back now, being a little more cautious on 18 HP. To be fair, it was normally Fallen doing that play, that time coldzera being the man to push out. So I guess pick your poison. Now, how do NiP approach this? They do have Pit just on towards that P250. The others do have a very light rifle purchase, very limited amounts to work with in the way of smokes, mollies. And again, they have been pushing these guys back to the sites, but this time FNX wants to get a little more aggressive, which could cause even more problems. But Fallen going to be sat on the site as well. So again, Luminosity not quite all that challenged just yet. Definitely taking their time here, just seeing what they're coming up against. And now Freiburg giving away a little bit of the game then, getting tagged up. And you can start seeing the damage really starting to accumulate on the NiP side.
So they've fallen back. They've once more given NiP the room to actually push up towards the site here. They've just slowly evolved over the half of getting less and less aggressive here, letting NiP figure out exactly how their strats are, but NiP still making very minimal progress at actually consistently finding their way into a site and then holding in the post-plant scenario as well. But they're going to rotate down through the connector, and they're ready to go for a 3-2 split push here into the B-bomb site. Most of the pressure is going to be coming in through construction, but I think Forest is going to lead the charge. Sneaking in now, the first smoke's out. Taco's going to be trying to hold back over here by Toxic, picking up the first kill. Cold found 1-2, but Fur's going to get dropped. Taco finds one more before Freiburg trades him out, but then FNX right back into the mix here. Trades definitely favoring Luminosity, and Cold, back by the CT Cubby, is going to find the final frag.
One absolutely sick back line. Even after Taco did so much damage initially, seeing where that bomb was dropped on that final player before he got picked up by the couple of those splitting through short. Absolutely sublime stuff from Luminosity, and it looks like NiP might be running out a little bit of steam here. They're running that clock so low, but they're getting no opportunities to get those kind of favorable entries or any sort of beginning, and there you have it. Money's been absolutely broken down to 2 P250s, and already Luminosity want to go farming.
They're just now going back to full aggressive play here. NiP, well, they kind of expected at this point, so they're going to be trying to group up and hopefully just overwhelm at least 1 or 2 players here from Luminosity before the trades eventually just cause them to run out of players themselves. As they slowly creep their way back up, the problem is they've also got a flank getting ready to push against them too. Fur has already pushed up to the lower tunnels. There's going to be a bit of a run boost there. Can just fall off guard, and actually, I think he underestimated just how far Exist got jumped forward, so he's going to be able to drop the first kill against Fallen.
And now everyone else is actually pushed up. Fur is well out of position. They can work from the back lines here, which is exactly what they're going to do. And actually NiP going to turn their tail and look for more. Get Right has recovered the AWP. There's the flash, and well, Pit, you're just going to be absolutely smashed if you go towards that, aren't you? Now, 4v3, can NiP do any more damage here? Roaming around as a pack, they do have that recovered AWP, so that's a massive pickup for them.
What's a bit unfortunate here, though, for NiP is that if they pushed forward just a little bit more to check out the A-bomb site, they would have realized at the time of them finding that first kill that it was essentially an open site.
Yep. And
with them having 0 investment in this round, getting a plant would have been an absolutely huge deal. But now they have the op as well, and I feel like the main priority has shifted to, okay, let's try and keep this thing for the next round, or at the very least, find a couple kills with it, as they still have 40 seconds left on the clock. It doesn't look like Luminosity are being so aggressive anymore to move out and find those frags.
Yeah, and it's Get Right and his bodyguards at this point. Let's see how Get Right's AWPing's coming along. The 2 AWPers actually got killed at the start, so down to 20 seconds here, pretty much. Get Right checking up. See anything, and there's the double stack coming out. coldzera shows him how it's done. And now the 2 remaining players just might go for this one. Freiburg, all right, we've got a new AWPer. Why not make it 3 in the NiP boys line up? And if they get a plant, this would be actually really nice for them. They do get the bomb down, but I doubt that AWP's going to survive. No, it doesn't. And Exist now going to get overwhelmed by Fur and the 2 other players. So the defuse going to come out. Luminosity lose out on 2. They do drop the AWP. That can be picked back up if they want the double. And they get another round on the board. This is looking extremely decisive so far. At least in case of Luminosity's CT side and how well they're going to be playing, I think we have a very good answer.
At the end of the day, not a bad round for NiP there, considering the amount of damage they did, and as well as still fighting the plant there. But unfortunately, 10-2, those sort of like economical round victories where, yeah, you did some great damage. Those aren't really victories anymore because LG just has such a huge lead. You need to start stacking up something on the board at this point, because what have they found beyond that? Not a whole lot as of yet. So NiP back onto the buy. No ops, unfortunately, but 5 AKs. However, they're going to catch them when they're tossing smokes down towards the connector. So there's one for free to start things off. Fur drops Freiburg. And now, again, NiP also have no progress to make up for this. They're going to jump in and get right midair. Is shut down by Fur. Also, FNX taking another duel back by Long A, too. He's going to try to go for one. A little bit less luck here, but falls back, and there we go. Gets the headshot onto Exist. He's still got 39 HP, and now he's falling safely back towards the site.
And they just can't win a single battle at the moment. Forrest desperately trying to find one, but he's left all alone here. 1v5, and one absolute shambles of a round for NiP. 1 by 1, losing out on the battles, and Luminosity not missing a shot at this point. These guys are looking so ready for this game. It was kind of scary when they were saying that coldzera was feeling really warmed up and he was feeling like he was in that form that he previously hit. And maybe we're starting to see the rest of the guys starting to feel very, very good in this one. And NiP looks so disheartened, and you can't really blame them at 11-2.
And this is just going to continue forward, too. We're on another eco for NiP. They do manage to get an AK into the hands of GetRight, but he's got no utility behind it, and this entire team just has no utility. They're already using it. It's not even to get control of like a halfway point. They're just using it to get themselves out of the tunnel. Here comes that aggressive push. Doesn't go as well as it has in previous rounds. They're going to be able to dink Forest, but that's about it. Now Fallen, they're pushed up. Bit of an unfortunate timing on the swap over to a pistol, but now falling back, and I think he's going to look for some intel there about the panel.
Again, though, Luminosity, they haven't gone overly aggressive this time. They didn't push up too far. They were able to back away a little bit, of course, barring Fur. So if NiP can find a couple more kills here, they could maybe work towards a site, considering there really is only one man holding long, and that's FNX. He will at least get all the information now. Seeing Forest will give away a little bit of the game. You could probably assume there are others here. Now, the 3 running players who are close by going to try and get some control towards bathrooms, trying to work in towards game, but you can already see Fallen. He's come back around, and with 57 seconds, Luminosity already starting to get a great picture of what NiP want to do here.
Pushing up now, FNX takes the charge, but again, they've got nades in hand in the back there.
This could be the worst timing in the world, and it is. FNX finding Pit for completely free. The pop flash might allow a little bit of room to work for Freiburg, but no, if it's not one, it's going to be the other, and Fallen once more. Look at this man, sheer aggression. Just cuts out Exist, and now GetRight tapping away desperately, trying to find an opportunity, but he's left again all alone, and they're just not getting into these sites. 1-on-3,
no utility, and he doesn't even have bomb control right now. He's going to have to go back over here towards the bathroom to look to retrieve it. However, now LG, they've gotten aggressive again. They've pushed back out, and right around the corner here, Taco's waiting for him, taking that duel. Taco finishing off GetRight. That's going to be a 12th round for Luminosity.
And the thing is, at this sort of scoreline, a pistol win in the second half is pretty much going to secure you the victory. It's pretty dire. And again, these sort of dashes of aggression is what we started to see from Luminosity in the group stage. And look at this guy. And the one thing is, I've got to say as well, we haven't just seen Fallen stepping up. It's been everyone. Every single player is having a very, very competent game now. Not from the NiP side, from Luminosity. So now NiP do have enough money to force this one together with the Galil, and let's just go back in with everything you can, try and find something that works. And Fur's relentless aggression here on long has been a consistent nuisance towards Luminosity, excuse me, NiP, but this time he does actually back away from it, and NiP might be able to start out this round without a deficit.
On the sites too, there's that good sort of team play that we saw in that last round as well, sort of like the buddy system being utilized. One player's peeking out, we see Fallen picking up a couple of kills. One player's in a bit of a shaky situation, he's able to dive behind cover, then the other one peeks right back out and finishes off the job essentially. If you don't have that intel, it's not like this is a site that's already been explored previously by the T, so they don't know where these players on the CT side are positioned. The initial peek is still going to be such a huge surprise, and it's constantly throwing NiP off here. We saw that same thing, I think, quite a few rounds ago actually, when LG had a 2-man hold back by Semi on the A site, and they were able to do that same thing, trading back and forth, each player picking up a kill in sequence, and just eventually causing NiP to just run out of players because they don't have anybody left to take those duels to Song and dismantle in, and obviously the rotations arrived in time. So NiP moving themselves back up through the connector now. The bomb itself being taken to the hands of Exist out towards long A. They're going to try an A hit once again, but again, not a whole lot of map control being taken previously to this, so they don't know what exactly they're going to find on that site.
Well, there are 3 players waiting, FNX, Fur, and Fallen.
think FNX as well just jumped up and he spotted this, so you can already see the third man rotating over from the tunnels. They're going to be up here. Good site control, or a good amount of smokes and coverage coming over the site, however.
But this is what we want to see. Do they finally check the fur? He's already been allowed to get away with 1 kill. Now Geright's going to take the challenge. He will at least get it, but it's Trader again effectively in favor to Luminosity, and they are just strangle-holding down NiP here. This is an absolute travesty. I think Fallen just hit a jumping shot then. In case they needed more help, that again just highlights what we were seeing so consistently throughout that game. Great crossfires, great team play, and well, Luminosity just eclipsing NiP here.
And NiP just can't find the entries there. Not going to be able to pick anything up. So with that said, having an absolutely horrendous, I think it's safe to say, T-side half going into the CT side, what hope do they have at all of bouncing this back now? We're going to have to win the pistol and essentially climb back from the bottom now. As you mentioned just a couple of rounds ago, as soon as LG take control of the pistol round and they don't have any issues with the second round force-up, then they've got the smash in their hands.
Not exactly how he wanted this first game to start here, especially for the NiP fans in the audience. This is a horrible thing to witness. Hopefully for them they can rebound. I don't know if this map has any chance of recovery for, but there are others coming. This was always Luminosity's favorite in this pool, but not to this extent. You blinked and missed it. This game is looking incredibly one-sided so far, at least in the first map. Luminosity up a huge amount of rounds here against NiP.
That was a bit savage.
Brutal?
I mean, savage? Right.
We're not gonna... It's too early, Blue. It's too early for that.
Early. Maybe in the States.
Yeah, true. I'll cling to that one.
It's early.
It is, but... And it might be feeling a little early for Gerright there. He's looking a little disheartened, and you can't really blame him. What did they get, 2 rounds on the first half?
Yeah. 2 rounds, and honestly, not a whole lot of plants either. I think they get at max. If we exclude the rounds they won, maybe like 2 or 3 plants beyond that. So not even really having trouble just closing out the rounds, just having trouble getting onto the site to begin with. LG were an absolute force to be reckoned with, and in terms of just dueling outside, especially over in the park area, back over by long and short A there was such good trading going on there in the favor of LG that we never saw them really get past that area. And we saw a much smaller amount of B-tems being attempted, but even then too, we saw a little bit more success being had by NiP. Just weren't able to actually get into the site without taking so much damage that eventually the retake power didn't come back in for LG. But now LG starts on the T side, and they're going to kick things off very quickly, already moving themselves into the B-bomb site. There's no presence from NiP, but this is good. They picked up the first 2 kills. Finally, some trades coming in the favor of LG as Fur finds one of them to exist, but still down to 3, and also Fur taking a lot of heat.
FNX in a really good position then until he got overrun by Forest. Now down to a 2v4. This is NiP playing retake perfectly, looking poised and ready to come back in. It looked like a no-fear play from Luminosity for a while, but instead coldzera in a 1v3. He gets the first, tags up the second, but now taking damage left, right, and center. The defuse is coming out, and he can do nothing but watch. He actually takes down another, but just had to reload at the end of it. Jesus Christ, can you hit a shot, Freiburg? All right, no.
I like the human shield coming in there as well.
Just like meat shield.
Let's make sure there's no lucky headshots coming out of there to drop the bomb diffuser there. So NiP will control the pistol round, and now they have a chance, a very small one, but albeit a chance to crawl back into this matchup.
Chance, I think, is even a strong word at this point. 13-3, NiP. I don't know. All right, it's round by round from here on. The point is that they can't make any errors, forced or unforced at this point. It's incredibly hard to turn this around, especially when you're getting railed like that. Ouch. Freiburg not having the best of games yet. Having to do that extended duel, let's call it, with coldzera now being kind of sent packing on 17 HP. Taco will... Oh god, he actually wallbanged him in the end. Really not the best start for Freiburg now.
What should be noted too, of course, is that Luminosity get that plan in that first round. So they're not really going very hard at all into the buy on this round. So the more kills they get, the better. Because it's number 3 where we have to worry about them. And to drop any big rifles off of NiP this early on and not allow them to get recovered is going to be great. But NiP taking a bit of longer range duel. They're only finding 1 kill with it. Now down to 5 HP. Timing again with the nades in hand. That's like the 3rd or 4th time we see that happen against NiP. They do trade things back out, still in a 3-on-3, however, but Forest is looking to fall back and kind of drive a wedge to slow down Luminosity at the very least.
What is going on? How NiP even allowed this to begin? Now he's going to be pressured down by 2. He does get the first, but trades it out. Luminosity are doing so much damage here. This is terrifying to watch. There we go. Finally, they take a good advantage with Gerright coming over to deal with the problem that was going to be at A, that being Fur. Now it's Taco looking for a plant, basically, at this point. If he can bring this situation closer, brilliant. But now, making it through towards B, no one's actually on upper too close out, so he will be able to sneak out and look for a bomb plant here. He knows that Exist is going to go for the challenge on this, but he's still getting a bomb plant as well. Taco has brought this down to a 1v2. He does have the SMG to hand. While Exist turned the flash, he did manage to take him down. So, NiP, bring it back. Get to, get the round strung together, get right. Just by, waiting so Exist can make sure that there's nothing on the ground that they don't particularly need. Or Exist, I think, looking maybe for the other rifle that was around here as well. So, again, Diffuse going to come in now. Exist going to be looking for the rifle? Is there another rifle that was brought up at this point?
I think they only had 2 rifles.
Yeah, that's it.
Should be good.
So, okay, they're fine now. All right, there's nothing else on the plate.
I think just retrieving... yeah, there we go. He didn't have a kit, so just retrieving that. And any other utility that may have dropped on the ground, too. It'll be good to pick that one back up. But that was not the round that NiP had to worry about. This one is. And look at the buy we see coming out from LG now because they get 2+0. It's a full buy. In fact, they're in a better buy than NiP is right now.
All right. Good luck, NiP. Pit's going to be working with less than ideal weaponry at this point. They do have enough utility, at least maybe not quite as good as Luminosity's either. So look at Luminosity holding the back line so far, taking their time, wait and see, is there aggression? Would NiP dare to go for that, or are they going to be slow, passive, cautious? And again, seeing Taco in that position, something that actually NiP were lacking on their T side. There's a lot of information gained by a player just being able to work their way through Luminosity on their CT side and being able to get away with working out exactly what the Ts were up to then, being NiP. So, into this round though, Pit and Forest going to go for a little bit of an information gathering mission here down towards A long. Doesn't really get to spot much out as we saw earlier. Luminosity are playing very slow here, very tentative. And just being careful at this point, you can't really blame them.
I mean, they played very high pace, fast pace, I should say, on the pistol run there. So NiP were a little bit scared to think that they've already pushed themselves up and are now just waiting to see if NiP themselves want to get aggressive, and they haven't really. They pushed out a little bit now just to try and gather some info because they absolutely have to, especially with nobody really pushing out past monster construction on B, but they finally start to push forward, and the lurker, Taco, back down over here towards B, has already picked up the first kill. If they read them correctly, though, they should not really rotate off this as of yet, as this is still a pretty common thing to see. Is Taco just going down there and causing some havoc by monster. The positions back over here may catch LG off guard, but they're going to have to move out and try to find a kill with it now. First duel goes by the way of Fur, and he's going to look for seconds here, too. Thankfully, Pit trades it back out, and that'll leave things in a 4-on-3, but then Get Right comes into play, overexposes himself, however, so Fallen trades back.
And with all these mollies, they can hit this site pretty quickly here, leaving these two players in a bit of a tricky situation. Pit and Freiburg have to position perfectly, and look at where that bomb is going. It is not towards A, it is on a mission, it's heading towards B. Taco has been taking strides towards this site from the start, so already has a great deal of information and control. So now NiP realize this, with 7 seconds left, they go back for it. Freiburg now knows exactly what he's walking into, but will he guess the positions at this point? Pit spots one out on the site, sees one towards short. Good work from Freiburg, takes the swing, but it just gets outdone. Taco dominates him, and there you go. Fallen will find Pit, and again, Luminosity just wrapping NiP around their finger and sending them back again with another round on the board for Luminosity here.
When you consider now all the damage that has been done going back to just that second round, of course, now the real question is, as we head into this next one, what kind of a buy are NiP gonna have too? Because they already saw them a little bit more weakened on that third round, and now coming into this one, what exactly do they have in their arsenal? And it's not a whole lot here. So Luminosity, unless they have any problems with this one, they may be taking control of this first map because we just have upgraded pistols and a single FAMAS sitting on Pit.
And then NiP going to go for a bit of aggression here, try and get some presence towards the underpass area, try and get a bit of a stack of crossfire going to try and maybe get away one of these guns, get away a rifle if they can. But I love this approach from Luminosity, knowing they'll be probably against a very weakened NiP with maybe pistols, looking for maybe something like this. They take themselves down long, keep those rifles in a lovely position to do all that damage.
So creeping up now, LG going to play together as a 3-man unit. They also have people posted back a lot too to sort of watch out for those aggressive pushes, especially down on the connector. Fur is sitting here waiting, not making a sound. Whereas in the meantime, the other 3, they're just walking up to the A bomb site. I doubt they're even going to be challenged by NiP, and then we're going to have a plan, and NiP's going to realize, all right, well, these positions didn't really go the way as planned. Grouping in now, we may have a little bit of a response coming in from Pit over there, but it doesn't even look like he's watching out for it. So falls back, but is caught on the flank. They had no one watching long A, and now they dropped a rifle as well. That's probably the most important player, and he goes down without a fight.
My hands, my head's in my hands alone, let alone how NiP are feeling at this. Exactly, it's a not like this, but not in the good way. As now Luminosity are just adding insult to injury, just nailing in those, hitting in nails to the coffin at this point. And finally, there's a bit of a resurgence. NiP wake up out of nowhere. Okay, Exist, welcome back. Don't do that. And now 3v2. Bomb is planted though, and Luminosity do have control of the site, and the HP is very low. Forest 3, Exist 19. They're going to go for this, so they have to. The clock is ticking. Now they don't have a kit. They need to back away. They need to save what they've got. This is going to be another one for Luminosity, getting onto 15. And NiP, so close yet so far at this point. Doing a little bit of damage on that little bit of a comeback, but Luminosity looking so dominant here.
It is a bit odd, though, that round turns into what it is, that it seemed like NiP were just going to be locked into the site without really anything at all, but somehow they managed to trade their way back into that. A little bit sloppy from LG, but shouldn't matter at this point in the game. 15-4, dominating NiP at this point, and now the buyout will come in once again from NiP, but LG have no trouble at all reinvesting themselves here into 4 rifles, along with the op.
And still no one on long for NiP at this point. This is seemingly an issue, as at the moment Luminosity are just stepping down long, taking control, doing that very slow start to deny any early aggression that NiP might bring out. This time though, a little bit of a stack. Probably not Freiberg up there after he got dinked down pretty early in those previous round. Going, I'd rather not actually Exist. You can go up there. And Fallen just slowly clearing through. Again, just checking for any aggression, see if there's anyone in these corners early on. Pitt's actually going to position himself down on long, and I think he's going to have some company with Forest soon. Oh, I love this play. Just clinically clearing out all the usual spots, I guess, so that when they do, if they decide to breach on long, they have such early information, they can check all the remaining corners pretty well.
Now Forest pushing up now to support Pitt a little bit. The timing on this could work out great, because now the guys from Luminosity, they're ready to go in. Pitt taking it first duel, not going to be able to win it, however. Forest not really there to try and support it. Tosses an 8 out, but that's about it. He's just going to fall back, let them have that kill. And Fur as well, taking some duels back by Short 8. Not going to be able to line that up so well. Some damage going on to Forest, but there we go. Fur connecting the shot, finishing off Forest. 3 left alive from NiP to try and close this out.
And look at where Taco is. He's already starting to get towards B. They're starting to pincer in, close in everything here. The 2 remaining players from NiP are probably sweating bullets at this point. Exist and Get Right can do nothing but watch, and already Get Right gets challenged, but he does at least win that duel against Coldzera. But now, where is the bomb? Heading towards B. Taco in such an advanced position. I don't think he heard the drop, though. I think Exist can get down there pretty silently, so he can cause a huge issue, but Fallen even checking for it. Such great intuition, maybe a little bit of sound heard. And there you go, Get Right does claim FNX, so maybe Exist can get something done here, but actually just about makes it towards the side. Catches Fallen on the way out, but it's Fallen to land the shot, leaving Get Right in a 1v3. He's done great deals of damage, but he's walking wounded at this point, and the USP is not going to do it. Taco closes down on map 1, and Luminosity look back in absolutely brutal form.
What a masterclass performance, especially on that first half too. Things showing off a little bit there in the second half maybe, but when it comes to the 1 versus 1s, when it comes to the team play on that CT side, LG could not be topped whatsoever. And you can see it from NiP now, especially coming off of a hot streak there in the group stage. They're not happy with the way things played out in map number 1.
You can't blame him at this point. That is going to be a little bit upsetting. There are a lot of opportunities, I guess you could argue, throughout that game that maybe we could have seen something more, but NiP just never seemed to get going. They seem to be constantly struggling throughout this. The money never quite playing into their favor either, and Luminosity just individually were so damn strong as well. It's so scary to watch. Every single player had their moments throughout this. FNX and Fur, brilliant performances individually. And sadly for NiP, none of them really got going. Even towards the late stages, you saw some resurgence, but it just wasn't enough. Get their heads back in the game, and as said, we haven't seen much of Luminosity on this. They've been slowly working it back into their map pool. The Astralis game certainly wasn't exactly the biggest highlight for us, but let's see how much that will affect today's game. Of course, Liquid certainly can attest to how good NiP can be on this one, and probably don't want to remember it. So, if I was going to push you for a prediction, Blue, where are you going on this?
Normally, actually, I would have thrown that this is where NiP start coming back into play, but to be honest, I'm going to flip-flop a little bit here from what we said earlier when we were standing over on the other side. I think that this is actually just going to be a 2-0 now from LG. That looked like a very poor performance from NiP, and I don't know how they're going to come back from that. Yeah,
I think this is probably looking a little bit worrying for NiP fans at this point. The fact is that Luminosity individually look outstanding, and I think even Yanko on the desk said that could transcend into this game. If they come in that hot, I don't know how much NiP can recover from it. Sure, NiP have those really pinnacle players that can come into their own on this one. You Get Right, your Forest, and hopefully you get to see Pitt, who was very absent from the first game. So hopefully they can start finding their form, because I do believe we are ready to get underway, ladies and gents. Let's get ready for map 2. It's NiP against Luminosity. And Luminosity are on the T side to get this one started.
Shouldn't be said, however, that in that last map, Luminosity were just 100% flawless. There was a couple weird mistakes that we saw being made there, but we'll talk a little bit about that later as things could get started pretty quickly here with a stack in mid from LG.
Yeah, and a little bit of a stack coming out from the CT side of NiP as well. There's that smoke that we've seen consistently coming into play now. It will actually allow a little bit of play here on short for these two, but that is a way to send them way back now. Pit needs to back off from that. Taco instantly looking for the punish on it, but he's not going to get it so comfortably. They'll have to now work their way up, but great beginning for Luminosity to get this mid and short control. Taco
now going to lead the charge for things as they're not slowing down whatsoever. They're already pushing themselves back over here towards Cat. Taco rolling back out. Great pop flash, as you can see. The ninjas aren't going to be able to see anything as they go into this site, but there's Pit picking up one kill. They traded out by Fur, however. Now they get control of the site. Freiburg still holding on his own, and Exist as well, still out holding some pressure back by Long. Okay, so it's a 3v3 retake now for the CT side. They do have a kit, but that's on Freiburg. Down along, Coldzera still holding the flank in mid. Keep your mind on those two as Fallen now takes the fight with Exist, and Exist comes out on top. Now the man on site is Taco, having to be that rotating turret. Desperate for Coldzera's support, but the tags come out, and Forest coming up with a kill there. Taco just being swept aside, and now 1v2 Coldzera. Can he hold on to this one? Bomb is planted for him, but he takes the extended fight, and Forest, the pistolero master himself, we want to close it down towards him. So Diffuse comes out, and NiP will start off one step in the right direction. NiP, now their fans come out to play. Where was this in the last map?
Yeah, you know.
Not a lot
Fair weather fans, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this keeps up. It is the first round after all.
So we'll see if that remains consistent, but LG are going to give them a little bit more room for respect because of the fact that obviously we're going to be seeing them finding the plant on the first round, so they'll be looking for a third round buy here. Just upgrading some pistols this time. Fallen does go for the scout buy, so he's investing quite heavily, but if they can get another plant, that shouldn't be too big of a deal to go into the third round.
Let's see how they approach this as well, NiP. You've got the two players towards B, Get Right and Forest. Pit holding towards CT here, but you can see how far back they are. They're trying to hold these kind of slightly more passive angles, or, you know, Freiburg playing on the apex of that corner just so they can work against these pistols. And here we go, Fallen. You got to go full on in this and not going to get it done. He had the one shot to make in that, and he didn't land it, so it does allow Freiburg now to punish them on long, cut off that avenue of attack, and leave the three remaining players to suffer at the hands of the others. Pit there, taking a bit of a duel towards short. Still staying alive, perfectly happy on that. And the others now from Luminosity just kind of bringing themselves back together and looking for a way through. Get Right is very low, actually, and probably not a play you want to lose out on at this point.
They're ready for this hit, however, and there's going to be Forest clotheslines, FNX taking him down. And these final two here, it's going to come down to Cold and Fur. What hope do they have of even getting onto his side at this point, because they're ready for him. There we go. One of them does end up falling there, but Exist takes down the remaining two members from LG, and we'll see them start 2-0.
The one NiP fan is very excited. Oh,
there's
more. There's more. But again, you know, this is Luminosity getting off to start. This is not a map we've seen them consistently play. They've, as Moses said, started to introduce it to their map pool. This would be NiP's pick out of the two. So let's keep that in mind so far. Now Luminosity, with the plants that they had coming in, have a decent buy here. Exist going to get pressure with Freiburg, but both do stand, and that molly's doing serious damage. Freiburg denies the opener there. Coldzera gets swept aside, and FNX still holding that angle. It's pretty deadly at this point. Will get flashed and smoked out. Tries to do a little bit of exit damage, but look at Taco and Fallen instantly trying to find another way back in.
And that molly is actually going to stop what seemed to be the initial game plan from LG, which was just go quickly out the long doors and try to get that pressure out as fast as possible. So guns are going to be traded back down. Taco will pick up the AK. Previously was rolling with a Tech 9, but first solo. Better to put it in his hands now since he's got more health to work with. And Fallen, it looks like he's ready to go in over here towards Cat, or at the very least make some noise. Watch for somebody on NiP that tries to get aggressive. But the other three are way back at the top of middle right now, looking to go back in and try to get some long control again as they go in for the Cat take.
Yeah, and if Exist and Freiburg keep being pretty consistent at holding long, it does become an incredibly tough thing to break. Everyone knows that Freiburg occasionally can come up with these incredibly big games, so hopefully for their sakes on NiP, he can have one of those joined with Exist, who just looks away at the wrong time. He might be able to peek back out here, but who's going to have the first shot? It's actually Taco to connect it first, but Exist just dancing on the angle, setting up Freiburg for the actual pounce, but he whiffs it. FNX comes out on top, and now they have a little bit of a play towards long. Sick shot from Fallen, but he can't make any more of it. Exist will keep this one in check, falls away. And now the last two players from LG slowed down here, but that bomb is left. Is it up on short, actually? I think it's still on short, at least.
It is. It does still look like it's back over there on the Cat area, so it's going to be secure for the time being. Exist picking up a kill, but Fur does still trade that out. Now they get control of things again, but with Fur only sitting down at 10 HP, it's going to be so rough for him to try and close this out, especially since he's going to have a surprise waiting around the corner. It's Get Right, and he'll close things down with the UMP.
Okay. So they actually did lose out on a fair few rifles in that round, but they were keeping these rounds pretty decent. Their money's okay. It can be spread out a little bit and reinvested into. And obviously for Luminosity, it's not great now. They went for that third round buy, didn't work out. So maybe Tech9's buy down to about 2k if they want to, see how they feel about it. But there's the ult coming out for Pit, and he had a decent spawn towards long, so he might just take himself down there. Again, would you argue, I guess, Forest Morley takes it a little more on this map with the ult, but oh, Freiburg, come on, don't bring in NACS here. There's no need.
I was about to say, that's for the North Americans right there.
It's just a nice little shadow, like, we miss you guys.
We're not even on North American soil anymore. That's just,
you know, it's very kind of Freiburg to be such a, you know, international person at this point. But yeah, looking at Luminosity here, they've got a decent bit of foothold into this map. Forest might get challenged down, but Fallen's made it pretty far through. Somehow gets to dive away as well. And there we go, finally Forest will punish him, but this has been a pretty clean round so far, barring Taco.
So Cold and Taco now just going to go for this last-minute push, but there's a good pop flash. Pit and Freiburg are going to be destroyed by that one. Or apologies, Pit and Freiburg are going to destroy LG with that one. Bit of a correction.
So, looking overall as well, at the moment it's actually been a very well-rounded game for NiP. Exist and Freiburg holding incredibly well on long. You can argue Pit's been having a couple of here and there moments, but he's been holding down the short play pretty passively on the side. Now Luminosity need to get this one going, and here's the big difference. We've got Fallen on the orb now. This could change things, but not just yet. So, let's see how Luminosity approach this round. Now they have that AWP in play. Now they have the utility to work with. This would be the round that they'd start looking to really add that pressure here. But Pit, going hunting.
It's going to be hanging back for the time being, but it looked like Forest as well, posting up near the doors initially. Pit just trying to keep an eye on if they go for that usual T-side stack over there towards the middle that they often do regulate themselves towards on most teams if they just can't find any really killer two here. So that's exactly what they're going to be trying to form up now. FNX and Fur pushing over towards that. It's going to give them the room they need just in case they were going for a more aggressive play towards Cap, but not the case for now. Luminosity is trying to get some room to maneuver with in the first few moments of the round here.
Those flashes on long not quite being as effective as wanted, but it has caused Freiburg to move a little further forward. You can see the Taco not far off of him from now. Pit's going to be positioning himself by those cars so he can be ready for that short play if needed. Also can supplement a little bit towards long, but it is going to be Freiburg to be challenged on long at the moment. Exist is walking up as well, but here we go. Freiburg with the spray down. He only catches one in the end. Trades out with Coldzera, but Pit able to focus down. Trades out again. 3v2, and that's the break, the final break in this. FNX taking down Exist opens up a.
Forest, though, he's hot on their tails, and there we go. He's going to be able to take down FNX. Now everything falls to Fallen. He's still has the bomb under his control, so we can get this up onto the site and get this planted and start the timer now. But how's he going to hold this off with just the op in hand as well? Going to molly things off, back over there towards Cat, keeping the CTs away.
Look at the flank from Get Right already, though. Starting to position himself on long. And Fallen, you've got to go big here. Get Right going to take a swing out. You might want to be careful on that. And Forest now going to work through CT. It doesn't matter. Get Right connects the shot. Fallen goes down, and the defuse will come out again. NiP showing that, okay, even if we don't hold the site too well at some points, we can play retake just as comfortably. They get to upgrade to the double AWP, and they get a team ace.
Yeah, I was about to mention team ace there. Get Right at the end, fishing for some shots, and he's going to find a nice one. Straight to the dome of Fallen, take him out of the mix for that round. And still Luminosity, not with a single one to put up for themselves here. Still going to be buying up into this round, however. 5 AKs, no op to be found on Fallen. But decent amount of utility behind those AKs does not mean that this is going to be an easy one for NiP.
A different start here for Luminosity as well. A lot of presence towards B, but look who's gone and had a little look for this. Maybe Exist feeling something here, but will he get any sound cues as to what's happening at the moment? They're being relatively careful, but Coldzera is watching this, and there you go. Coldzera pins him to the wall, but the information has been gathered. Now Forest and Get Right brace for impact, but no one works their way through. Again, Luminosity now with the advantage finally, a clean advantage. They can start working their way through the map.
So the guys from Luminosity are finding that early edge on themselves, but really taking a huge advantage of it just as yet. Whereas in the meantime, the Ninjas are starting to spread themselves out quite a bit, keeping an eye on mid in case we do see the mid to B hit coming into play there. And also some rotations going back over to support that even more. So Freiburg is going to join the party here. And Pit too. So they're giving up completely on any even hope that this is going to be an A hit. But the problem is that we can see the shift from Luminosity's side of things now, and it's definitely looking like it's going to be an A hit through long. So they need to correct this pretty quickly. And Taco may be the signal to give them this.
Freiburg and Pit boosting that. Both of them not particularly seeing much towards mid. Taco was the player there, but already Luminosity are looking to tender towards long, getting a good bit of control already. Fallen leading the way. Pit might be able to see the cross on this. I think he's already watching it, but there is still smokes that can be put down. Pit readjusts. There's the smokes. So this will be through smoke if he gets anything from this, which would be an absolute miracle. Pulls the trigger a little early, but then again, you can't see anything from that, so always a tough one to do. And now, let's find out if they're going to go for the retake here, because Luminosity have a free site, a brilliant setup with Taco still in top of mid. So this is going to really make it difficult for NiP to get a step back towards this.
This is what could have given it away early, obviously, because if Taco just goes over to counter, they're going to see that with the boost they had in middle. But now, because of the fact that they have given no intel whatsoever, and they do take the risk on this just being a B hit, there's nothing they can do for the retake at all, and they're going to have to stop this 4v5. They're just going to call the save really early, and LG finally now just completely outstratted NiP, and are now going to be able to win around through that.
That was really beautifully played. I don't know what gave away the game, or at least in the minds of Pit and Freiburg, to completely step away from A. There was obviously a little bit of presence towards mid, but to completely step off from it is a bit of an investment. But again, NiP are up a fair amount of rounds at this point. They can suffer through this. They get to keep those double ops in play. That's not too much of a loss here. So 5-1, Luminosity will get their first round on the board. And well, with 5 players alive, it's certainly in some style.
Double op setup as well now here, still in play for the Ninjas. As Pit and Forest are going to be picking that up. Still the rifles for these guys too, obviously with a lot of saves coming in on that previous round. But LG, they don't have the edge on things here. We'll see if they can keep that damage consistent. Maybe by also killing a couple more players this time too, instead of just walking right past the Ninjas.
And really, Forest and GetRight haven't been challenged too much at B. This has been a relatively, you know, free site. A couple of players have been over towards B tunnels, but no one yet making a play towards it. It's been Jerry mid, short, long. You've seen all the attention so far. So yet to see too much from them. But this time, we've got 4 players actually lining up here. This could be a quick play for it. They're actually looking like they're going to pop flash through, possibly. Here we go. Flashes come out. GetRight completely blinded. And here comes Luminosity pouring out of B tunnels. And they land the shot. It just takes out GetRight, giving the site completely into control of the T side. And Luminosity just flicking the switch and suddenly deciding, all right, guys, let's open up that B site. And my God, they've done it well.
It's so quick, so calculated from LG. Not only this, but they're going to give NiP no chance back. And Fallen does try to go for the sneaky play there to stop any chance of the retake, but now we see Freiburg picking up at least 1 kill here, and he's going to try to go a little bit further by getting control of the tunnels. The problem ultimately, though, is that they have no utility, and with Forest at 9 HP, this would not really be advisable to go for this.
Yeah, I think he's worked that out as well. And yeah, Forest solo does kind of keep that play towards a retake a little impossible. Nice flank, though, from Freiburg coming all the way around, but let's come back to this hit from Luminosity, because that was absolutely beautiful. Freiburg's really looking for exits, and he's actually out by T-Spawn, so he could be able to get a few here if he spots them out, but just moves away in time. Still trying to keep himself safe to retain this AK.
It should be good now.
Should be fine. I don't think they can get there in time at this point. But Luminosity's B hit, that's the first time we've seen that all-in B hit. They might have actually been looking to do that when Exist pushed up, and they kind of just went, all right, they've seen everything, let's maybe try something different. But that was just so hard to get into. They just went straight out of the smoke, flashed it, and well, GetRight had no chance.
Just a direct play, essentially. And the timing of it, just in terms of when this comes into play in the half as well, is almost perfect when you consider that for such a long time, the Ninjas have been weighing a lot of their defenses, and we saw it in the round before this, where they weighed all their defenses over to the B-bomb site. So now Luminosity's thinking to themselves, all right, maybe they're going to lighten it up a bit, and that's exactly what happens in that last round. They only really keep GetRight in the immediate area, which can defend it. And as soon as he's taken down, because of the timing of the pop flash works out great for Luminosity, and it's essentially round over from that point forward. A couple more players do try to brawl it out a bit, but they're not really going to be able to make all that much impact, and Luminosity find a second round off of that one now.
Luminosity not going to do the same thing in a row. Getting all those players up towards short now. Sadly for Forest, he's probably heard a lot of these steps coming through, so it's not exactly the end of the world, but not exactly a favorable challenge at this point. So just going to back away from the smoke, give up that bit of mid control that he may have had, and it's going to be down to Exist and Pit. We're playing off each other towards the side. Pit just going to be tucked in towards Goose. Excuse me, Exist tucked in towards Goose and Pit towards the side. And here we go. They're just be jumping down towards CT, taking the direct challenge, and they landed 6 stuff from FNX to get it started, but Pit and Forest stand tall in the Swedes. Send Luminosity just off point now. Fur and Coldzera are the last 2 alive.
Cold trying to place himself in a position where maybe he can catch somebody on NiP moving out to try and check back over towards Cat, but that's about all they've got at this point, because Fur is trying to push himself over to the B site now. What could be crazy from this one is that if he goes for the execute on B, and they all rotate over to try and stop him, this needs to be a success in the first kill. And yeah, but GetRight's going to stop that, and now he has no chance, so there we go.
I was wondering if they maybe saw Coldzera.
It looks like
earlier.
Pit saw him there, because he caught that pretty quick, but had the potential to be a bit interesting there. Just didn't end up panning out very well.
It could have been. Could have happened. But 6-2, let's kind of review this, Blue, because so far, we've got a bit of a competent game from NiP. It looks like they're starting to warm up, hit their shots, starting to look more and more competitive. Not quite as much of the pushover that they were on Overpass, but Luminosity, this is still pretty early on in their T side, but again, What sort of scoreline are we going to be expecting from this one? If Luminosity start waking up, this could start turning pretty far south. And Taco's actually going for a very aggressive, quick play up towards Cat, but no one else working off the back of this.
It's still been a very competitive half for the most part here, despite the scoreline. From what you see on Luminosity's side of things, the biggest problem that they're having so far is either with finding those initial entries, because NiP just has such a strong defense on the site, or actually in the post plants themselves here. They're not really having a trouble with their strategies, it's just actually executing them. In a large part, actually, some of the same problems that we saw from NiP previously, just that it exists all across the entire round, and not just in the beginning part of it, where NiP just couldn't not find any entries in that last map. So, Freiburg, good flash, poor execution on it. Now Pitts, though, is going to be able to roll back over here and help out. And there's Freiburg with the first pickup. Dropping for, looking for some more, and it's a shutdown. There we go again. LG not finding any entries whatsoever. They did leave Cat for free, but now what's Taco going to do here?
Yeah, those 4 players basically playing off the back of this are going to be able to shut this one down unless coldzera can do something magical. But Taco is leading the way. 45 seconds, the bomb's on long, though. 3 players dedicated purely to that. Can they isolate Forest away? Can they get anyone down for free? I don't think so at this point, but Taco is desperately looking for a chance here. And Forest waiting. Oh, hello, Taco. That was a bit... All right, that was a little bit of a spicy play from Taco, and now Forest actually gives away his position. So if he's landing shots like this, I'd be getting a little bit worried here if I was Forest, but no. Forest keeps this round in check so far. Now coldzera left in the 1v3, and I think he knows his chances are running pretty slim with 15 seconds left.
So he's going to be falling back now and just looking to retreat with the AK. Knows he's not going to grab it, but he may even be chased down as well. Gets into one middle, gets himself out of that for now. So the question will be, how actively is Freiburg going to try to chase him? And it doesn't look like so much. Makes it out with the AK at least. But still another round where for LG start off very poorly, and they're just shut down by NiP on their initial attempt to push out towards long. There's never really any follow-up on it from there. Maybe a kill or two as you saw. That was still a very good kill from Taco, but made very little difference in the overall scheme of the round.
Again, this player on long coming out from Exist and Freiburg, I think it was that time was actually Pitt who joined in with the AWP. It's actually been very impressive. The control they're exerting is something to be certainly admired at this point, but there's still such an explosive style, such a dangerous style to Luminosity that could still come out and still be present throughout this game. And now going in on whatever they could really. coldzera, of course, keeping hold of that rifle from the prior round. Everyone else just on a very light pistol purchase at this point. Not much else to hand, and they might be that very explosive B hit that actually worked out really well before. However, they did have a lot more to work with, and it looks like Get Right this time might be aware of what's coming its way.
Get Right gonna find the first one there. It's actually Forest finds skill, but now Get Right comes into play. Find the second. Here comes Forest and Exist, though, and they shut it down. Nothing to be found. Forest jiggling around as he's happy about the shutdown they had there. LG, what happened to them? Looking so promising back over on Overpass, but here on Dust 2, it's a struggle.
Just looks like 2 very different teams at the moment, and that final shot from Forest, I think, was just some sexy CS, let's be honest here. Just takes his time. He had 4 bullets left, but he made it look good. All right, now Luminosity on a decent buy now. Not exactly ideal. You've got the Galil in there for coldzera, but I want to see them take a new approach. It feels like some of these plays just aren't quite netting them the control they need. The plays towards long have been consistently shut down by Freiburg, Exist, and or Pitt if they exchange up. See if they maybe try and adapt something. We've seen 0 mid to Bs. We've seen no attention there, and maybe that's why Forest domes down Fur, but in the end, Fallen does find him, so it's Get Right again to control this. They might now know that B's looking a little bit weaker. Taco's going to take advantage, and Get Right goes back for more. coldzera getting destroyed, and now 4v2. Taco got some great information, great play off the back of knowing where Get Right was and where Forest was, but sadly with that bomb right on Cat, again, NiP should be able to position around it. But FNX has found Pitt, so that's opened up a chance towards an opportunity to be found. However, Freiburg can Get Right on long. Can keep this in check. Exist spraying wildly, gets caught out by FNX. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit worrying. Now 2v2. We've got a molly, we've got a smoke with Taco, and on the other side, a nade and a flash. Nade gets used, flash still in hand. How did NiP play this? Because this got way more interesting off the back of FNX.
This would be an incredible comeback if Luminosity still somehow managed to win this round, when you consider that while their lurkers have a moderate amount of success pushing out, the main group just gets destroyed back towards mid by Get Right. And they've also lost bomb control too. They're going to be moving in and getting that back now, but...
Oh, look at this.
Now NiP, they've moved themselves over here to the A bomb site, and they may actually just try to push down and catch these guys off guard, while maybe they're trying to go for a push towards the tunnels.
And it's a bit of a gamble considering the time. There's still enough time that they may have been able to dash for the bomb and go to B, but FNX is peeking out. He spots down one, but it's Freiburg to shut down the chance that was starting to build here. Now Taco left in the 1v2. He hit a bit of a monstrous shot long before, but doesn't get the opportunity. Freiburg gives him a bit of the London look there, just placing that bullet through his teeth, even recovering the AWP as well. So That 2v2, though, started to look like maybe Luminosity had something going on then, but a very ballsy play from NiP to take that long rotate round long.
Taco doesn't even want to take that final 1v2 as well as he pushes back. He's just trying to hug the wall on Cat to try and find the plant. Nothing to be found, however, and because he does not get that plant, we're just going to see an upgraded pistol round coming in for LG. Deagles, Tech 9s, whatever they may bring to the table, it's not going to be all that much when you compare it to what NiP throws at them, which is still a very full and very fruitful buy as they hold the lead 9-2.
Are we going to see the same, halftime score?
It seems like it almost, where these are some very lopsided halves here. This time, though, much more in the favor of NiP, obviously.
It does make for an interesting case on Cobble, but it's not over yet. And Fallen's going to prove that one with the P250 just pushing Forest out of spot. Now they know that Gerard's going to be... What was that? FNX, you monster. Pit's going to be left a little worse for wear after that. Now 5v3. Luminosity, you just can't write these guys out. They're still so deadly as individuals, but Gerard's put himself a little out of the B site. I think he's going to know that this might be a possibility. Just sprays in towards Fallen, catches him through the side. But it's a dangerous time now. Luminosity are going to be playing towards that B site. FNX joining, Taco and coldzera pretty close by.
Get right. Did yield control, however, so this is going to be the problem now. Trying to call this in early, but he doesn't want to take the risk on pushing back into the site. The flashbang allows him to go for the cross, but keep in mind, no smoke for these Ts. So already NiP are going for the retake, rushing for the plant at this point. Get right goes in. They two of them just line up for him. Now they're going to try and find Taco. Posted back in the corner. He can't find anything whatsoever without armor, so Exist is going to take him out. And in the meantime, he's found the NOP. That's great for him, but ultimately this round will be going to the CTs.
I think we were starting to believe a little bit when FNX and Fallen decided, be pistol gods, but there you go. Bomb defused. Fer does get to keep that up in hand, and a plant as well, not the end of the world. But again, this kind of gets to that same predicament that we started to see NiP on the first map, is the fact that you can't just... that shot.
He finds that so quickly
such a
as well.
beast shot. But yeah, it's the same predicament. It's great to get these rounds where you get the bomb plant, you build up a little bit of money, you're able to get the double up now. But at 10-2, they need to close out the final rounds now. Simple as that. So double up on both sides. This is what I wanted to see. Forest and Pit both AWPing, and coldzera. Actually, Fer going with the AWP. I think he had the better spawn for it. Just... All right, no summit here. Chill out. It's the timing on the molly.
Yeah, that's some good patience from NiP to not try and peek out and challenge that when you consider. So Fer does take a big chance in hoping that somebody from Ninjas tries to go out there and take the challenge of the duel. So finding somebody running through the molly, but it's not the case, and Fer essentially just gives away half of his life for free because of that choice.
Again, the AWP getting passed out to Fallen, so he'll be picking that one up. Just Fer working off the back of a very nice long spawn. And already, Luminosity having to look for options here. Fallen trying to find maybe Forest, as he does occasionally play far more dedicated towards mid, but not this round. He's posted over by B. Taco keeping him pretty present, but Gerard litters in. All right, the king of spray.
That was
just, yeah.
That was like a blind shooting gathering match there. Both of them trying to trade damage back and forth, and you can see Get Right getting a little bit low himself, but at the end of the day, he'll come out on top, so it's not really going to impact anything too much, though. But now this draws another player away from the mid hit that they were going to be going for. Fall looking for a shot. He's going to find it, but not before Exist takes down a teammate behind him. Now Get Right pushing in. That's a great shot from coldzera. Post jump, shuts down Get Right, and now we're back down to a 3-on-3.
Finally seeing this mid to B. I've been waiting to maybe see a bit of that, but they do abort it. They go back towards the B tunnels. I like the idea behind the aggression towards B tunnels then from Get Right, but it's down to Forest, and I know he can play from this spot, but he doesn't get the chance to. It's coldzera to just eradicate him from the side, give complete control over to the T side, but Freiburg is watching that cross. And that smoke is not in place. They know where Fallen is now. That bomb can't go down cleanly, and both of the T side have AWPs here.
NiP don't have any utility to get back in, so this is going to be a raw retake they're going for here, and there we go.
Oh my god,
First one
coldzera
walks right into the shot, and now this last man alive, Freiburg is going to try to sneak in, gives himself away, however, and that's a quick execution that Fallen finds. Takes out the last man alive from the side of NiP, and LG finally picking up another round here.
Just sick stuff coming out from the T side, working off the back of that. Fallen. Can imagine Exist is a little bit gutted he didn't manage to get Fallen as he was spraying so close. He got the player just behind him, but at the end of the day, there's still enough money here for NiP to get a decent enough buy-in. Not perfect, but decent enough. But now for Luminosity, they have 3 rounds on the board. If they get the final 2, it's not the end of the world. They can build back from this and look to maybe causing some more problems in the future. But look at Toko's aggression, and with nothing off the back of it, just tries to peer out towards A, and walking through smoke and walking out on short is not a way to get yourselves back in this game at the moment.
Even if they did bring things back up to even 11-4 is still scoreline. That can get very close very quickly once again. But not looking like it may happen on this round. We'll have to see. Hold on, just as I say that, now 2 more kills come out for Luminosity. Fer and Cold grabbing 2 for themselves and taking good control, but not going to move out anywhere towards the site just as of yet. Still just hanging out towards the middle. Looking like they're going to fall back and take long control now.
I like this from Pit, though. He's actually pushing up a little bit here, trying to find some more information. Can he see them trying to escape towards the B tunnels? Where have they gone? Can he hear the steps? Because Gerrite's completely unaware. He's waiting of the whim of his team, waiting for that call to know that they're coming B, but they're not. They're lining up on long, and Pit is doing wonders here. FNX might have an idea what's going on, but still, let's see the positioning between these two, because it's ring of roses right now. FNX is holding the top of mid. He sees nothing. This could give Pit even a better opportunity. He's going to walk around both of them. Oh, FNX
no.
just catches him in the heels. Great timing on just turning around and checking there was no one had snuck through on long. Now they're in a 3v2. That's a great advantage.
Also, too, the pick gets basically 0 intel out of that play as well. He only finds a player that's back over by T with the op. So now the smokes are going to come in. So it's going to be obvious the hit's coming towards the A side, but Exist can blind spray. Not going to find anything, not even close. As just taking a guess at it. So for Gerrite and Exist, they're actually, it looks like they're going to move closer to the side. They might try to attempt this retake, but it's going to be a rough one again. No utility. Gerrite just pushing in, trying to go for the jump shot, and fails, and then Fer responds to that pretty quickly, takes down Gerrite. It's all on Exist now, and he's going to be found out as soon as those smokes fade away.
FNX and Fer having massive impact into that round specifically. Now, this is starting to look more like a respectable scoreline and maybe a little bit worrying for NiP. At the end of the day, they want to keep this as clean as they can. They don't want to give much of a chance. Any window of opportunity, Luminosity will take and run with. And look at this buy coming in into the final round of the first half. It is far from ideal. Pistols alone, a good bit of utility in the... Wow, the firing squad is out, ladies and gents. You only got to look to the wall to know how well this can work. But Forrest knows better than that. He's taking his time. He's playing calm. He'll just play on the CT side here.
Nothing found early on here by Luminosity as they try to go for the shocker play. Trying to get some of the guys on NiP on the cross, but now Pit. He's going to look for his own bit of shocker. Up close with the Deagle, spraying crazy with Fallen, able to recover. Exist too, going for the peak, but they don't find anything at all. FNX finding a second kill, and now Fallen with the Tech 9 out. He's trying to push Forrest back into 16, and doing so almost eliminates him as well. Won't be the case, but the damage is done. And now LG have their pick of the litter, wherever site they want to go to.
It's all in their hands. Frybub completely flashed, then just goes back into the jaws of Cold Zera, and it's down to Forrest and Gerrite. The classics with CZs. Not so classic, but yeah. 3 AWPs still against them, 5 players, and a minute to try and defend these 2 sites.
Fallen waiting for the site peek now, hoping he can find somebody behind the box. Won't be coming from there, however, is Gerrite. It's just around the corner on top of the dumpsters. Waiting to try and catch somebody on a headshot angle. Still very, very slow. He spotted them now, but I think... No, nobody's seen him as of yet. He can still hold up close. And there we go, though. Cold jumping up on top of the Tetris box is going to be able to catch Gerrite pretty quickly, taking him out of the picture. And for Forrest, he does have a flank alive, trying to tap away on one of them. No, can't seem to find it. There we go. He was indeed about precision, Scream would have quoted. But in that case, Forrest not so on point.
I think he was trying to describe how how that went down. Then at the end, you can see him trying to show Frybub like, "Come on, I did it. I've seen Flusher do this, but why does it not work for me?" But 10-5 scoreline after what was a very long and pretty prolific stretch for NiP in that game. It looked like Luminosity did eventually start to get themselves back into this. So they do have a little bit of a window of opportunity here to bring themselves back into this game and close down into. Otherwise, we're going to be going to Cobble.
And as we said, though, for NiP, though, 10-5, still a much better half than we saw from them, and a much better showing overall than we saw back on the last map. But things could bounce back pretty quickly in the favor of Luminosity if they start out hot on the second half.
(10-5) was the first half scoreline here. NiP holding on to their lead at the moment. Bearing in mind, both of these teams finished first in their regions. However, only one can carry on to the finals. Now, at the moment, it looks like maybe we're going to be seeing a third map if it carries on this way, but there's another half to be played here.
Yeah, NiP come back, obviously, did do a great job of resetting themselves and coming into this second map in a much better form. However, Luminosity, they bounced back great there in the last couple of rounds in the first half. So things could, as you were mentioning previously, get pretty out of control pretty quickly and allow Luminosity to swing back and take control of the second map. But with NiP at a 10-5 lead, winning the first like 4 or 5 rounds will pretty much set this in their favor as well. So that's going to be the key here, taking control of that pistol round, making sure that first gun round as well goes under their control. LG, however, now jump on to the CT side, and we'll see how things go for them, as it looks like we are getting started once again now, folks, with the second half.
We are underway, as you said. Luminosity on the CT side, NiP on the T side. And NiP do lead this matchup so far, but Luminosity did start coming back into the game in that later throw. But look at first, straight away, this is sick. Look at all this information. Oh my god, this is so sick from Fur. Oh my god. Exist! What was that? Just gets the idea, and now FNX tries to get that information back, get the play back into their favor, bring it back down to a 4v4, extending on long, but now here comes that Glock train. And well, it's been met by some severe force, and coldzera fallen, just joining forces and taking them down as they try and set 1 by 1 through towards short, but Get Right forging the pass through mid. Doesn't quite get much done, leaving just Exist alive in a 1v3.
Exist as well, not even really having a good amount of intel as to where exactly should play these final 2 players against. Doesn't spot the one below him. The jump comes in, gets some good trade damage back in, but he himself is being pelted down pretty quickly. Trading things out for a Glock, but 27 HP. Exist doesn't have a whole lot left to work with, and also constantly watching out for that flank here now. FNX, he's going to strike soon. He's out. 12 HP left on Exist now, but the triple shot shuts it down.
Exist might be able to make that. Maybe could have got to be just on the edge, but this could be smart. Or it could be over. coldzera's going to get the peek now. They know his position. 39 seconds. He has 12 HP. This is so little to work with. How's he going to try and play this one around now? Trying to isolate maybe one of them. Bring it to a 1v1 if he could, but... Okay. Okay. This... I think Fallen's going to hear steps here, but yeah, here we go. He's going to get a plant out of this. This is incredibly intelligent from Exist, making what is a pretty bad situation actually work for him here. He can plant pretty safely. They're going to go for that short retake, so as long as he keeps his head down, he's got a chance in this one now.
Now trying to hold back, however, as the both of the remaining members of LG are going to try to go for a retake back over through Cat. They smoke it off. He's in the corner, though. He's got to line up these headshots. There's one in the second one. Exist is going to close out the pistol round, and NiP keep the lead going strong in the second half. We're going to get an instant replay on that one because that was fantastic. He has nowhere to go as well. The retake coming in from Cat. He has to stick himself in this corner. All it took was a single shot from LG, but they can't connect. They're going to roll out, finds the first one and the second one.
God,
and this as well with that earlier kill and the extremely smart decision to roll back after he was considering a B hit. That's some incredible play from Exist.
Let's just take a second to calm down, because that's God tier play. That's something you don't see every day. And Exist was a player who used to get so much criticism, but he's been let off the lead recently, and leaving Threat as the in-game leader. Now he can just achieve some incredible things. That was just beautiful to watch. So NiP start things back off. We did have a little bit of an issue, I think it was first keyboard possibly, but everything now fixed up. We are back underway, 11-5. NiP kicking off the second half with a bit of a bang here. And try and take us into that third map if possible. Now Fallen, taking a look down mid. I think I already saw one going towards that suicide area, just running straight down, but not too much gathered. And Taco going to be walking right in towards B tunnels. This aggression could work out pretty well. The smoke's just behind him, so Exist again, not having any of it. He's got a great idea what's coming. Taco.
That's the second time we've seen him grab an amazing pistol kill with just a wild peek out of nowhere. So Taco is starting things off strong. Wants revenge now against Exist from that previous round. He's going to indeed get it. Fallen firing off some shots here, not connecting onto any of the players from NiP that are pushing themselves towards Cat now, but it's going to be a very, very quick attempt to take control of the A-bomb site. Fallen, though, is caught, and Get Right finds the first entry.
Great uses of the flash there from NiP just to let themselves actually get towards the site, and sadly for coldzera, he can make 0 impact. FNX gets overrun, and now Forrest goes hunting, gets the job done in the end. A little bit questionable on the swing out then, but actually a recovered rifle here with Fur is a huge pickup. The bomb's just been planted, so he might be able to stay alive for this, but yeah, great recovery. If out of everything they walk away with this, not too bad in the end.
And he'll just be hugging the corner.
Yep.
NiP, obviously, still the fledgling economy at this point and already losing 2 players. Not going to really want to risk 1 or 2 more lives and moving out to hunt that down. So he'll keep that AK more than likely, unless he gets a bit aggressive. He's moving out now. He's going to look for it. Doesn't spot it to his right. Good recovery. Manages to finish off Get Right, but now he himself is at 9 HP, and they may be a bit more tempted to try and hunt this rifle down.
Yeah, they're both closing in for it. Freiburg on long. And he will take it out of his hands. Doing damage towards NiP was good. Their economy was quite low, but they can certainly suffer through this. And sadly for Luminosity, they won't be able to carry that in towards the next round. But 12-5, there's a little bit of breathing room here for Luminosity. More than, I guess, NiP had on the first map. So there is still a chance they could turn this around once they get back into it. But it's still going to be very, very close, if anything.
So here now, there's going to be the early scout action coming out from Fallen. He's got support, but not really netting anything here. Freiburg's already picked up 1 kill. There's a good response, however. Able to finish off Freiburg. FNX had done some earlier damage. It brings us down to a 4v4.
Getright's probably the one who's going to go hunting, as he does have that Mach 10. Probably going to be on trying to find these 4 remaining players as Fur. Stepping out along. Look how aggressive Luminosity play the CT side. It's not worked out that time as Forrest was just waiting back in T-spawn with the bomb. So again, the double stack in B going to be working their way through. Taco and Fallen there. But considering that Luminosity only have the USPSs and Fallen's the man to pretty much have it all, if he can do any more damage, this would be pretty nice, but not going to happen. Exist keeps it in hand. And now just ColdZera left alive. And he's going hunting, but he's a mile away from where they are.
Good classical close out there now from NiP. Not a whole lot of trouble in this round, of course, when you consider the buy from LG. Really only had that scout coming into the picture, so from Cold, may try to line up a little bit of a flank against these guys if he pushes with the correct timing in the tunnels. However, as we can see, they're already funneling out onto that B side itself and watching for the flank. They've got Forrest posed up.
And the best recovery for ColdZera here, if he wanted to try and take something to the next round, was either the Mach 10 that Get Right did previously had. He switched up towards what Freiburg started with, or that scout, but both kind of hard to get hold of and not really worth it at this point. And not be able to sneak in. ColdZera gets picked up. And then just in Pyjamas keep a clean round that they actually did kind of need after some, you know, scuffles in the first few.
And now we do get into the first gun round, of course, and the real first test for NiP here. One of the few they'll have in this half if this one goes well, of course. But if they can close this one out and take the next buy from Luminosity as well, then they will have map number 2 under their control and will be going to that 3rd map. Luminosity can strike back here, however. Things are not quite done just yet. However, NiP, very quickly, they're going to send Pit out of long to take control of things here. And also going for some kills, but that opening duel does not go well whatsoever. The good news is, though, is that now Cat is wide open for the taking.
Pit saw enough on long. He knows how many players are there, but a little hap-handed from Freiburg just to fly out like that, giving ColdZera the shot. Not going to be able to follow it up, though. Now those 3 players on long would be left going, well, how do we get back into this? How do we play this one? Fallen lead the way, and he does in some style. Just domes down Get Right. Exists in a good spot, though, can catch the rotate. No, he can't tell a lie. Taco finds him, and now the 4 remaining players from, well, 3 now. Luminosity were having this one under wraps, but Freiburg's going to get shut down as well. And Luminosity built themselves into this. And I've got to say, without Fallen being able to hit that shot towards Get Right, I wouldn't have seen that working.
Not only this, too, but I feel like NiP was a little bit over-aggressive with their positioning in that one.
It was Freiburg when he just stepped out on short like that.
Moving out as well, where in these situations where they really did not need to hunt down those kills. So with that said, kind of giving that one away, but still, like we said before, decent cushion, especially after winning the first 3 rounds. Nothing to worry about on the side of NiP just as of yet.
Well, until a double AWP comes out, then you start getting a little nervous. That's, I mean, a couple of things to worry about then, I can imagine. But yeah, 13-6, they still have so many buffer rounds here. So many, you know, errors if they need to, if they do make them, they can recover from. And Forrest could be looking for that cross, not going to spot out a singular thing.
Don't have the economy just yet to try and build up something as strong as a double op setup, so still working with mainly just the rifles at this point. Decent utility though in the mix, and Cold really just saving that FAMAS from the previous round. Really, no need to upgrade that to an M4 really. So we'll stick back with that for now, but NiP have slowed down tremendously now, just sitting back, and they're, once more, just like we had a lot actually on the last map, just sitting back and waiting to see if they can catch any of that early aggression from LG. But they're not going for it. They're just sitting stable in their own positions.
Yeah, well, the bomb's still in spawn there. NiP still have to get that one to hand if they actually want to go into this, but yeah, a very relatively slow build here. NiP again, looking like they want to get some cat control to start off with. Easily enough done at this point. There's no one really challenging from mid, but they have been allowed to get Fallen, FNX, and Fur all over by A. No one looking for that flank, and Get Right going to be sitting there in those lower B tunnels, looking to kind of deny the rotate if it does come in from Luminosity. You're not going to see the standard kind of smokes going down. Nothing too fancy just yet. FNX and Fallen will be the ones waiting for this, but I like the slower pace now from NiP. Flashed up, they are going to be slowed down. FNX able to get into good position. They are going to be dropping down towards CT, but again, someone gets spotted out on the way down. That, I think, was Freiburg, but it does get traded out for Exist. And again, Fallen has to be a linchpin here. Already finds 2. Can he find any more? He knows he's being closed in on, but that bomb Gonna be just tested with for a second. Exist, they're dancing with the idea and fallen again. That's 3 already. Taco's found Get Right, and this player's been shut down. Forest is desperate to find a way back into it, but he has been eliminated. Coldzera with the final close. But Fallen, what an integral play from the site then, playing it so patiently and so calmly.
And as well, with no plan even happening there, that's going to deny the force up here now from NiP. They're going to have to respect that and just go for a complete save onto this round. So that was another intense retake coming out from Luminosity, and this is 2 times in a row now. So this is definitely becoming a slight problem that these guys are going to have to watch out for as we get later and later into the half, and the CT economy becomes stronger and stronger here as they're building it back up now. And NiP themselves had to save. So we talked about before, 10-5 is definitely not the end of the game as its half is concerned, even with NiP picking up those first 3 rounds. LG are very quickly battling this back now that they themselves have gotten the big guns in their hands.
Kind of scary if Fallen's doing that well with an M4. God only knows what he can do when he gets to the ult, but it's Coldzera to get a little bit of info to begin with. Again, just spraying in towards the doorway. See a little bit of a split coming out from NiP. Just trying to maybe find a player they can isolate, get a gun away. Ideally, if at best they can get a plant out of this. Freiburg baiting out the shot. Nothing comes of it. Fallen's going to hold his nerve. You've got 1 minute and 12 left. They don't need to rush particularly anything here in NiP. They're just probably talking things through as well. Use the most of this round as they can. Don't need to call the timeout just yet. Then just play into the next few with the weapons.
Taco already picking up 1 frag here as he manages to shut down Forest with a bit of a feeble attempt to push out into the B-bomb site with just a little Glock. Now, though, there we go.
Sick.
There's the jump boost. Gets them a little bit more ground. However, it's still being managed quite nicely by the LG players. As they shut it down. No frags at all go against them. And it'll be an 8th one for the guys on LG.
Yeah, Fallen is such a turret in that position. It's kind of scary. And actually, they are going to call a timeout. That's not a technical one. It is a keyboard issue with Fur. So he's going to be trying to fix that one up, I can imagine. I think. Yeah, he's just down the end. So hopefully that gets sorted out. But let's kind of look at what we've seen here. Because, we saw the ridiculous stuff from people like Exist in that pistol to keep this one going for them. They looked pretty solid in this. But then once the guns came in, as you said, Luminosity have started to actually show some extraordinary presence here. So the unpause is about to come out, so they'll be back underway, but 13-8, the scoreline is looking a little deceiving here because I think this game's about to get very close. Let's see how this round goes down. We are back underway. Luminosity still trailing behind, but they have a good shot at maybe bringing this one closer. And this fast play could be met with some serious force here. Coldzera's going to be waiting with Taco. And then NiP completely flashed up, apart from one, and that one being Get Right will open up that side perfectly. Although look at that damage taken en route.
Cold not really there to support it whatsoever, but he's going to peek himself out now. That's a nice shot from Freiburg, though. It takes down Cold and hits in this position, too. No one's expecting that. There's one. There is a trade from FNX, but 2-on-4 now. In the grand scheme of things, this is still going to be very, very rough for LG to pull off. Decent amount of utility, and with some decent damage done already to the remaining members of NiP, there is a good chance. But the pure numbers aspect of this one is going to make it tough, and FNX might meet his match early. Didn't spot it. Freiburg hiding between a little hole there between the boxes. As Fur wraps around, gets a nice little tap. Shut down Exist, but that's all he can do. He's just saving now.
And I love that, just coming out with some straight sheer force, basically, from NiP, just saying, okay, well, I remember what you guys did when you used to hit the B site, and Get Right gets a good bit of a revenge, I guess, at that point, just kind of like doing the same right back to them. So, Fur, looking to probably just keep hold of this as best he can. If he can get some exits, which he actually might have the opportunity to, this is great. He actually might have a great deal of opportunities, just dancing down towards mid. And there you go, he will be able to keep hold of this one. And Ninjas in Pajamas get one step closer to not letting this game drop, but we are going to see that double orb. This is what we were looking forward to.
Now the question is, how powerful is it? Because they can't afford to make any more mistakes. This is it. This is all we're really going to see bought out from them. This is essentially a big full investment, only leaving Far with enough to go for a buy on the next round after this one, should they lose it. NiP might be able to close things out pretty quickly here if they can get past the double op setup, but it is indeed the power couple, Cole and Fallen, as they pick that one up. Fallen going to be using his closer to the A site, and already we see a bit of combat happening. Get Right holds strong, though, in the pit as he takes an up and X, but Fallen with a nice shot trades that out.
And looking at the HP here, both are so low. Freiburg on 3 HP, and then Fur on 15. That's pretty tough to work with now. And Get Right just kind of got caught out a little bit on long then in the end, but as did FNX. So a bit of an even kind of trade out almost. But again, it's pretty hard for CTs to play with 4, even if it's against even numbers. Let's see how now NiP are trying to approach this, because it looks like Luminosity are reading that they like to go towards B possibly. And again, they're not completely wrong at the moment. There's 3 players stacked up. This could be everything. But Freiburg is selling the fake like an absolute hero. He just made noise on short. And now while this happens, the rest of NiP are going to try and take the B site. And well, they have a great step in towards the right direction for them. But Coldzera is waiting. And if he gets a bit of a glimpse, he can do some serious damage, but his form fight exists. But what on earth? They just walked into that.
They just walked in one by window. No utility used or anything. They had fallen with a whole load of utility, but for whatever reason, they decided not to use that. I guess they wanted to try for an aggressive retake, but with all these players just going one by one, it's an easy shutdown. So NiP grabbed that round. The double ups had barely used whatsoever, and now NiP will sit on match point.
And they've got the double ups themselves for completely free. Really questionable choices. They're maybe getting ahead of themselves, maybe just, I don't know. That was really weird from Luminosity. Not the sort of pacing or approach we normally see from these guys. And look at this final buy possibly here. It's really shambolic. You've got two CZs, an AWP with Fallen who just got tagged up as well. Things couldn't get any worse. That's only one way to start it off. And again, it looks like Taco and Kozera might be going for some aggression in the B-tunnels, try and get some map control, but it's risky at this point. Well, everything's risky at this point.
And NiP know they're probably going to get aggressive here now, too. When you look at their positions, just posting up, they're going to wait it out. And Fur kind of walking into some of that own damage. However, elsewhere on the map, Fallen did pick up a kill through the mid doors and took down Freiburg. So it's not a bad start for the guys on the CT side. Now they have to hold it, however. The NiP still having a pretty big advantage in terms of the buy.
Yeah, there's so little utility as well with the CT side. They can't hold much off. So if NiP actually decide to brute force the site or just try and do like a kind of, I guess, quote-unquote standard execute, they can have such an advantage. But there's a double stack play here on short, which is pretty deadly. You've got FNX tucked in towards the corner, and then you've got Fallen on Overwatch. Now, they've kind of just gone for the 2-2 stack, leaving Fur alone on long. And it looks like we can see the B play coming out. And Taco's already read this really well, but he does end up going down in the end. And now that's opened up a great deal of opportunity. Can Coldzera do anything here to stop this?
Pit finding another pickup on FNX. Now Cold, he's got to come out big here, hiding in the corner. He's made a lot of noises, so they're going to know he's there and exist. Jumping up on top of the box. That's an easy frag for him to find. And Forrest with a second. Now it just leaves Fallen alive. And there we go. They heard the footsteps. Exist is going to find that final frag. And NiP will take control of map number 2, 16-8. And that will send us to a third and final map to determine our first finalist here at the ESL Pro League Season 3 Finals.
I wouldn't want it any other way, Blue. This is a sick matchup between these two head-to-head, and that third map is going to be so brilliant to watch. The first two were their choices, and they were pretty decisive victories, but that third map, Cobble, is going to be something else, I think.
It's going to be an absolute brawl between those two teams. We have one map, of course, Luminosity just dominating things, but NiP look to be in great shape here, and a lot of mistakes this time popping up for Luminosity. So now the real question is, what will we find on that third map? Which team is going to come out the strongest, and which team is going to have the better strats, too, because we saw these two minds just battling back and forth, Threat and Fallen, such great minds in the great game of CS, and then we had this too.
That moment is unbelievable. And great stuff from Exist as well. Individually, a lot of the NiP players seeming to wake up, but there is still Fallen, and he is still in their way, and we'll find out who becomes the victor in that third map.
This is just going to be both of these teams fighting to the bitter end, as they both want that spot in the finals.
So this is a question that I'm going to give out to the crowd, is the fact is how loud can you get for these two teams? I want throughout this game to hear you guys getting hyped behind them, because we are live underway. T-side's going to be Luminosity, CT side is NiP, and Coldzera and Fallen going to be the utility players here to try and set up this piece. The looks like it's coming towards B.
Pushing themselves out now. Cold and Taco looking for the first kill, pushing out towards the broken wall, but get right. Pretty preserved, falls back fairly fast. And now Ferg gonna look for some early drop control. It's given to him too, rounding around it there. Get right is not even really able to contest it because the broken wall push comes in at the same time. FNX finding a first kill. Get right trying to hide behind the rock, but Cold dropping Exist further back into the bomb site here. And Get right, he's out in the open, but he's flashed, he doesn't even realize it, trying to find something, but he cannot grab anything at all. And Fur and FNX just clothesline those final 3 kills. Get right, Freiburg and Forrest all go down, and it is Luminosity that takes control of things.
And what a decisive way to start it off. If I'm not mistaken, everyone stayed alive then from Luminosity at that point. They pretty much got everything they wanted throughout that entire pistol. Yeah, exactly. No kills at all for NiP throughout that. So perfect start. Now for NiP, you've got the 3 nades, a P250 and a Deagle, so hopefully they can maybe stack out, get some good damage done, because you've got 4 SMGs coming up against you, so they're looking to build that bank. They're looking to do more damage, to add insult to injury. And it looks like they're going right back towards B, but you've got FNX holding the flank as well, so keeping that in mind with a rifle. Kind of scary to leave him isolated alone, but no one's going to be pressuring him anytime soon. And again, they have the smoke with Coldzera, one with Taco, and then the flashes and the nades to support it as well. But there is a good little stack here from NiP, so they could be doing some damage. And it looks like Ferl wants to lead the way towards drop, as already he does drop down. So again, this is going to be just causing a little bit of a ruckus amongst the NiP players, who now need to back away a little and try and reset the fight.
Far finding the first strike, but Forrest does respond back, and there's a good pickup from Pith. Looking for Aurora. As as they end up running into their own nade, it seems. So a little bit unnecessary damage being done to the remaining members of NiP. And now LG have good control of things here, trying to clean it up pretty quickly. Taco finding one of the last couple of kills. Just Freiberg left inside of this smoke, but they know he's in there. It's all the matter of hunting him down. Almost a nice shot, but it's not going to connect, and Cold will finish things off pretty quickly.
All right, so losing out on 2 players, if I'm not mistaken. Not too bad, that's perfectly fine. Considering that was actually a very clean round as well for an NiP, they barely invested into it. You kind of just have to get through them. It's how much can we do at very best. It's looking for those very small things you can put together. So again, not a great deal of money to be made here. So they've got 1 smoke and 1 flash towards Forest. They just go for a stack again, or a very aggressive play towards mid, which is what they're doing. Just going to try and go out, overwhelm someone, ideally get a gun away. At the moment, look at Fer. You can see this guy just hunting it down. Anyone with the MAC-10 is wanting to get up close and personal, just try and hit the shots and farm the money. And up close, that thing just tears through people, so it's absolutely perfect for that.
And we even have the remaining focus of NiP is back over here towards the A site too. Nobody's here in B, so they just went for a risk, and that maybe Luminosity was going to try to change things up a bit. Definitely did not end up happening, so the remaining couple seconds here is going to be pretty easy, and Fer being on a bit of a hunt too. If he pushes himself out, might even be able to grab some more kills. And there we go.
Nice idea on the use of the flash to try and just, I guess, get in the face of those players, but they just perfectly fine. And actually, a good bit of money built up. Look at Fer, 7.4k already. I wonder if he's going to be that guy. Fer, you going to stick on that?
Absolutely. No reason to believe he wouldn't.
Oh, no, he's
does he
actually
actually
upgraded.
upgrade it?
He has upgraded, okay. We've got the Max 7 with Get Right, so he could be playing on that little kind of broken wall part, going in towards B, towards platform, or maybe drop. Both can work pretty well, but at the moment, everyone else has that full rifle. And to be fair, people like Pasha, you see Edward often doing it. It's not exactly an unknown thing, but it does look like, again, a very aggressive start for Luminosity. Taco's just going to power through, and he catches off Pit. That's a huge opener here. Now, Luminosity get that start, and they can just hit the brakes. They can slow down the pace, although that pop flash will allow a little bit of a swing out there. And Freiberg going to go back into it, a little bit dangerous, and of course Fer was waiting. And again, starting to build some real control. Get Right's trying to put himself in a good position here, but now going to be left out right in the open.
I'm amazed Taco even gets himself past Broken Ball before dying, but there we go, Get Right with fire on his tail. He moves out, catches Cold Zera. FNX will find a quick response, and now Fallen pushing in too. He's going to pick up an additional frag, dropping down onto Exist. It's all onto Forest. He's got a position behind the rock here on the site, but in a 1v3, it's going to be very, very tough to keep himself concealed for a very long time. Flashing things off by the platform, but now overall, Luminosity are just falling back to go for A control. Yeah,
and look at FNX. He can be the linchpin, basically play the rotate, as can Fer, and they catch him well. So well positioned with the 3 remaining players. Forest sadly didn't stand much of a chance, and Luminosity just coming out with some insane aggression then, just playing straight through. Was it Taco who just kind of like ran in and just caught Pit?
Yeah. I mean, as I was trying to mention before, like I was amazed Taco even got through that in the first place because of how many nades NiP used to try and stop a rush like that. So definitely a bit of a shock factor as he picks up that first kill, but NiP are on point there to trade that out pretty quickly. Ultimately, though, at the end of the day, when it comes to those opening 1v1s, it's Luminosity that dominate the playing field, and so they'll take control of that first gun round.
It's a little worrying if you're seeing Luminosity looking this good on their T side already, and it's the fact that they're doing so much damage and their money is becoming so robust. Sadly for NiP, they've been limited to even doing damage at this point, getting kills. It's been a very unfruitful game, I guess you could call it so far. And they have got a bit of a stack kind of focused around drop and, you know, off to the side. It wouldn't be too surprising to see an A split coming through on these rounds. But again, Luminosity just going to be clearing out one by one. The flash doesn't really catch anyone either, so Fer and Fallen having a really comfortable time here. And Forest just going to be waiting out. And while that Molly's going to push him back, and Fer with the one to punish. So they do get a little bit of damage done, but nowhere near enough to claim the round. And again, Luminosity starting to string these rounds together. It's not looking so great for an NiP.
No, it is not. But of course, we've only really had one big gun round played out as of yet. So there's still plenty of time for the Ninjas to try and bounce back into things here. But the strong start from Luminosity could be disheartening for these guys, especially if they start having like flashbacks to the first map. That's where it could get a little bit rough there, because we definitely saw quite a few mistakes being made in that portion. But now the op comes into play on Pit. We'll see how well he can frag with it, because Luminosity very quickly taking up those default positionings. Doesn't look like they're going to be moving out to the site just as of yet.
Yeah, Fallen playing extremely far back with his AWP as well. So looking for anyone trying to push through from A. And look at those deep mollies. This is very nice. Oh,
it's raining fire. And look at him spread a taco. Where's it going to go?
He just about found safety in the corner then, but this is brilliant stuff. That's what I love looking at, is those small adaptations from NiP, that they do things that most other people don't really do at this point, and the mollies will force Get Right a little further back, and it looks like we're going to have a posture towards this B hit.
So the T's trying to force somebody from NiP outside of a position up there on the platform. There's no one there, so all that utility is going to go to the waste as they re-smoke things immediately after that. NiP will have still an extremely strong grasp on this B-bomb site. That's going to be the ultimate task, is now finding those initial entries. They've been doing good enough to this point, but with that early damage done and them not really being able to get any intel whatsoever in the early round, this is going to be rough. And even first attempt to push drop, there's no one there from NiP, so he's not going to find anything here.
Gonna try and play off maybe the back of that pop flash then. Still has a smoke and molly to try and maybe cut off one of the approaches here, but they do need to start making their way through, and it's actually Fallen almost going in first, and this is incredibly brave and incredibly well done. Fallen almost gets the second. He legged Exist as well, but Exist does shut down at least one avenue of approach. That's drop room relatively under control, but not enough that he can turn his back. He has to depend on Pit here to watch that platform push. The pop flash didn't go deep enough. Pit will get one, gets the follow-up. FNX gets destroyed and now down to a 3v2. Taco and Fur with a big task on their hands.
No way into the site either. It's just going to be a raw attempt to move in and take control of the site, I should say. Taco finding a nice first one, but now he needs to chain this together. Moving himself out there, cannot find the second kill. Forest will close it out, and NiP are on the board.
Good stuff from Pit in the end as well. Getting those 2 kills. To be fair, if that flash maybe had gone a little further in towards Statue, maybe he'd have been a little bit blind, but he had complete control on watching that push out. And Luminosity just got picked apart. So 5-1 here, and you can see just the arc of it then.
If you watch the little arc of it, it's maybe like an inch or two too slow. That had been thrown just a little bit farther, it would have connected, and that could have been a completely different round ending.
Freiburg going on the SMG here. Not sure that's going to do too well, because look at the pace Luminosity are coming in with, and already GetRight has to just put down Fur, but look at Coldzera. He's forced into action, and he's going to take it, take down one, gets the follow-up. Coldzera just being let off the leash here, now 3v3 already. They're looking a bit deadly here, Luminosity. The GetRight deals with one, Pit misses the shot, leaves a bit of a chance here with the Brazilians to work something out, but Pit needs to land these shots. It's GetRight who's doing the babysitting here, if I'm honest, but Fallen has kept this round alive. Now 2 giant players going head-to-head. GetRight against Fallen. And Fallen's got an idea, but he whips it! And GetRight just turns around, sprays in, gets the 4 kills, and another round on the board.
It should be noted, too, that GetRight pushing back in there and finding that kill closer to the site, saving Pit's life a few seconds earlier, is actually what allows them to clutch that out, because just a few moments after that, Pit does actually end up bringing Fallen down to that low amount of HP, and obviously we'll see him finding that bullet or 2 through the smoke, which ends the round in his favor. So nicely played by GetRight there to save his teammate. Pit finds the damage over on a Fallen, and then later on we see actually GetRight closing it out. So nicely played by him.
Yep, Freiburg going full flusher on us here, going for the UMP near drop. Hey, it works. I'm not going to doubt it at this point. It certainly has worked for Flusher, but then again, just Flusher things. So see if Freiburg can keep up with that. Going to be forced away, actually. A nice little smoke comes in. Now deny any sort of information coming towards NiP as to where these players are at the moment. So this could be quite curious to see how it comes down. 4 players put over towards B pretty early on at the moment. Forest soloing out on A. And to be fair, Luminosity have not really looked at A yet either.
They literally haven't looked at A. I mean, they've sent maybe 1 or 2 players in towards mid-connector, but that's about it. They really have not been experimenting with it whatsoever. But there's Taco, finds a nice hole in the smoke and is able to take advantage of that by executing Exist. Quickly falling back, too. Not actually going to try to take any control off of that one. We'll see how the Ninjas react to it as they actually do move Freiburg away from drop and just completely onto the A-bomb side.
Yeah, and it's a weird read that they've got going on here. I'm not sure why they're putting them off that.
Luminosity are not giving them any intel whatsoever,
no.
So there is reason to suspect it could be going to either bomb side, especially with how quiet LG are giving. And even, you know, that AK spray coming in there, that's not going to give anything away. That could easily just be a lurker sticking behind to trick them.
No, absolutely not, but it will end up coming towards what looks like a 3-2 split. Fur and FNX going down towards drop. We've got the 3 towards the platform. The drop guys coming first, pull all the attention towards drop, and there you go. There's that UMP at a good range here, and it's dealt with it well. But there's still 1 player in drop and a couple to work their way through platform to still get into this battle, and Fur's going to find one good pick up towards Pit there. And now 2v2, this is still pretty tough, but the buy is certainly in favor to Fur. How the hell did he just find Freiburg? That's unreal. And now 1v1, Coldzera up against Forest. 7 seconds left. Coldzera needs to get that bomb down and make his mind up here because Forest is just closing in 3 seconds. It's ticking in safe. Oh, Forest well played in the end. Leaps around, gets the job done, and just testing the nerve of Coldzera.
Ultimately, the biggest issue there for LG is they take too long to execute onto the site itself. They push themselves out onto that site, but it's only when there's about 20 seconds left on the clock. So NiP are given plenty of time to rotate back over from that A site.
Who allowed British people near a bar at esports? I'm just saying, this is a dangerous combo.
I think the weird part is that they're wearing C9 jerseys.
I know, it's surprising that anyone wears those.
Yeah.
Yo, I can't believe you'd say that. You're North American, man. That's
I mean,
Stunner might still
not
be
necessarily
here.
a friend of North American CS. I think it's been well established by this point.
But we are seeing a difference here, actually. Luminosity have remembered there's 2 sites on this map, but one also may contain a bit of a raid boss at the moment, that being Forest. He's claimed Fur, but the rotate's not going to have too much luck at this point. But look at Geralt, look at Exist. They're right amongst them. This could still be pretty dangerous. And the T-side aren't having an easy time of it, but Forest is still racking up kills.
So getting themselves onto the bomb side here. Down to the 3v3, but there's one from Geralt. Missing the flick, but Exist is behind the support, and now Fallen. He's going to be way too slow with his execution. However, it is a full 10-second defuse, but I don't really think he's going to want to challenge this too much. It's going to be a defuse long before he makes any impact, and Forest takes him down anyway.
I've got to say, actually, Luminosity got pretty far up on A before they even got challenged then. They made it pretty far. Forest, of course, was being a huge play in that, but again, NiP have been only really sending one person there. They haven't been able to get too aggressive because you've occasionally seen, like, I think it's Fur generally, or maybe Fallen if he has the AWP playing all the way back, so denying that kind of rotate through all that CT aggression. So again, I'd love, it's actually FNX this time, I'd love to see maybe a little bit more of attention towards A. I think that's why you're seeing Freiburg supporting a little early on this time, to deny anyone a chance to get towards it. It looks like they're trying to sell, like, hey, maybe we're here, they're going to smoke it out themselves, flash towards danger, but there is still at least the main bulk of Luminosity looking at that B site.
And Fallen again moving into drop. This has been an area that NiP has actually been allowing a lot of free control to Luminosity. They're not actually really putting anyone in the room itself. They're just having people placed up by the windowsill and outside in that little transition room to try and stop them from getting any further than this, because if they have a player in and they can't get out, well, he's stuck there unless he gets a second to support him. But there's always going to be one player trapped inside here, and it seems to be the case right now. Get moves in to try and hold things off a little bit better, and also they're going to boost somebody up on top of the platform too. Though does have to fall away from that one because he's brought down extremely low, just a 6 HP.
Exist taking a bit of a gutsy play here, looking for that information on towards play. He's going to hear the steps, hear the gunfire, and he actually might have a good assumption as to what's coming his way, but already Taco's pretty up close and personal, but Exist has managed to back off. And, well, NiP are giving over a lot of control here. Luminosity on the verge of being able to hit the site. So they need to stop this right as it starts, but already with Fur taking down Pit, that's a good avenue of approach now. But look who's on the flank, and this counter boost could catch him off, but that Mag 7 just rips him from Guts to Garter, and now 4v4. Coldzera, Fallen, Taco, and FNX looking for opportunities here, but NiP aren't giving them over easily.
They're all stuck up on platform right now. They can't actually get out onto the site despite these trades. Down to a 2-on-2. Finally, they're able to make a little bit of forward momentum here, but Forest could be dangerous out in the open. He loses his teammate, and now he's by himself, but there's a good shot on the Taco, and now there's only one left, but it's FNX. He's at full HP. He's going to go for the plant, but Forest is not being aggressive about this at all.
15 HP though. Forest can't take a full fight. He needs to land the shot. He can't get it done. It's Luminosity to stabilize in that and further themselves forward. And 6-4 now. And this is the game we were waiting on, a closer affair between these two. But you've got to be thinking for NiP, their money's not going to be ideal at this point anymore.
No, it is not. So, for the ninjas here, just going to be upgrading pistols as Luminosity continue on a bit of a rampage forward here. A little bit of a rough patch there with the ninjas finally managing to string together those 4 rounds, and a bit disappointed that they can't actually put another buy up onto the board after so many in a row. But here we go, LG full throttle onto the site. The problem though is they weren't accounting for NiP, so they're going to find 2, but thankfully LG get back control pretty quickly. It's Coldzera to find 2 on the site itself, and Fallen tapping away. He's got somebody down very low behind the rock, and he knows it too. Just can't execute him as of yet. The
danger being that Exist actually has the armor, and down to 1 HP. CZ can't do much more. Forest on the long flank. He was going all the way around from A, and I think they've got a good idea of this. But Coldzera being very low, he might have been in trouble, but no. Coldzera sprays down, gets the job done, and him and Fallen secure the round. Take this one a little further. And of course, this is still, you know, you could argue this is probably quite a T-side map. It's very hard to get information as a CT side. There's very few teams who can play it as well as some. So now Luminosity on this scoreline is certainly not over, but look at Exist buy here.
That's an extreme buy when you consider how unstable things are here for NiP on the CT side. I'm curious to see what the plan is for it. I mean, right now it seems pretty basic. Just take it over to the B-bomb site and post it up probably somewhere by Chicken Coop and whatnot, and then just hope it can impact. Because, again, this is a great spot to place it, though, when you consider the Luminosity. They really have only been attempting B hits with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions so far in this half. And they've had a lot of focus back over on platform. And the weird thing being that NiP have been able to get 4 players here almost every round, but yet find it quite hard to contest this. But that's a very good start. Get right. Going to claim the scalp of Fallen, leaving the 4 players left alive. And actually, Fer got a lot of damage from that too. He's down to 34 HP, so certainly far from ideal here. Freiburg's pulled himself off of B, gone back towards A. So we've got Pit, Get Right, and Exist watching this site. And Taco has that little bit of a hole he can see through in the smoke. If he catches anybody moving outside of the drop, he'll be able to execute, but there's the auto. Shuts out Taco. They know it's here now, but it's all about countering it, and it's going to be countered pretty quickly. Fur moves in, takes that exist, finishing him off. But now it's about getting beyond the platform because they still have to worry about Pit sitting down below. He didn't catch over that. FNX was up so close, so it's, again, going to be what we assume would be a strong point of the defense. It's executed pretty quickly. Now Freiberg further back here, finishes off one, looking for a second, but he does leave himself out for too long. So Cold will trade it out again and bring things down to a 2-on-2.
Now, the bomb's not been planted, so there's at least one bit of a bonus going in towards NiP's favor here that they can work back in, but Forest takes a bit of a hap-handed fight, and now Getright's left all out in the open, tagged up, but still finds Fur. And look at Coldzera's HP, this is possible. Oh my god, this 1v1 is absolutely insane. Getright needs to land one shot, as does Coldzera. 18 seconds, Getright just toys with him. Cool, calm, and collected, knowing that bomb still needs to be planted. As he hunts his prey, he takes the shot, he can't land it. Backs off again. Time is not on Coldzera's side, and this has to be a full plant. Getright's going to take the chance, takes the opportunity, and takes his head again. Getright with the 3 kills, huge impact into that round.
Should be noted too that both of those final kills in the 1v2 were headshots as well, so on point with the aim when it comes to that one, and still playing at long range, but with the health pool so low for LG, I mean, the long range isn't really going to be too big of an issue when you have the spread shot coming out. As long as 1 or 2 of them connect, you're in good shape.
All right, 5-7. And again, this buy of the auto sniper, it's kind of weird.
Just recovering it actually from the previous round. So
yeah, true. So I guess Exist gets another try at it. He only got 1 kill, if I'm not mistaken, in that previous round. That's towards Taco, who'd been working through the smoke. So looking at Luminosity now, finally their economy's not too great, but again, these are into the final throws of this half, so it's not too bad for them. They still have the Tech 9s, they can put those towards drop if they want. And that's exactly what they're doing, guys. We need to get back in game, because the game is live. We are staring at NiP, and that's not what we want.
We can radio cast to help you out here. A little bit frustrated on the cam, but we're back in the game, and Forest with the roundabout here does actually bring things back down to a 3-on-3. So after LG did get themselves off to a hot start, it's been evened out once more here, and LG are sort of giving up their initial plan to go for an A hit, which, keep in mind, we mentioned this before, there's not been a whole lot of presence over here previously. They've mainly been focused on B.
This is a lovely rotate, though, from Luminosity. Pulling those players off and then hitting the side again. FNX can be the kind of anchor almost, just holding that angle and saying, guys, you can come across, like, just don't peek too far.
Yeah.
I've only got this. Don't make me work too hard. So now Fallen's got himself towards the side, bomb's planted. So now it's down to the retake. 3v3, this is actually incredibly tough to come back into the side, especially with Coldzera in his position. FNX as well. Crossfires are pretty robust at this point.
And FNX not even moving whatsoever, just going to sit here. He's seen the barrel, but as they round around, he's only going to get one. That's a good recovery from Pit. So down to a 2v2 once more. Support's going to be coming back in from drop, so they will need to be cautious of that one. Right now, they don't have anybody looking out. This is going to be a great crossfire. There we go. 1 kill already be found, and Pit as well. Not even really putting up a fight, unfortunately. Fallen shutting things down to end the round in the favor of LG once again, and they now take the lead away from NiP pretty heftily. 8-5 here, coming into the last couple of rounds of the first half.
Would say that NiP do have a very, very interesting T side, let's say. The smoke plays that they have were actually quite unique from a very unique play. So again, there's a lot to be looked at yet, but at the moment, this is an extraordinarily good performance coming from Luminosity. There was a little bit of a resurgence from NiP, as you can see there, the rounds in a row, but not exactly a perfect bind to this P250s, and that's about it. So Fur's gone hunting, but gets punished, gets wrecked for that one. Not allowed to get away scot-free. And now they all go for the fight against Fallen, and, well, gotta be careful on that one.
Fallen moving himself out there, did pick up that first trade kill, but beyond that, it's just a shut down. Literally, nothing being found whatsoever from NiP after that bit of a mistake with, I believe it was Fur who got a bit over-aggressive going towards drop, but that's very easily recovered, and with a 9-5 lead now, LG are looking good to control things heading into the second half, but by a much smaller margin than we've had on both of these previous maps.
As said on the desk, generally that third map is the kind of middle ground between both teams, so you do expect a closer game, and oh, look at this change-up. They're finally doing the hit towards Hay. It's the final round in the first half, but they're going to go for it. Taco's trying to sell them a bit of a cheeky fake here, but let's see if that works out. Forrest will be the one waiting. He is the gatekeeper of this site. He's got Freiberg not too far away, but he's going to get a great deal of info. He also gets absolutely ruined by Fallen, so that is the perfect beginning. A nice quick kill, going to make that rotate even harder, and Freiberg only has the UMP, so that's going to be put to the test here, and it's completely outdone already, having to just dance around that truck, and well, this is such a decisive take from Luminosity.
FNX with him finding that kill, that's essentially it. NiP, they're going to have such a small chance of getting back into this site. You can see Exist looking for something there. through the crawl space and outside of the shed, and Taco too lining up this kill. A little bit off the mark initially and down to 12 HP, but it's recovered pretty quickly now. Get Right just jumping down the suicide steps on the chase with this shotgun, which she's been using for most of this half, to be completely honest, only changing it back out, but there, he still had the 2-on-5 to work against, and there's going to be no recovering from that one. So it'll be 10-5 in the favor of LG here, holding a nice lead coming off of their T side. But same thing as the last map. Could still be recovered very easily by NiP, but they start off strong with a pistol in the first few.
Yeah, coldzera having a very good game for himself as well. Certainly one of the, I guess, the headliners at Luminosity. He didn't exactly have a huge game in the other maps, but this was certainly his to be taken. And Get Right, of course, joined by Forest with some impressive play for NiP. All yet to be seen still. NiP's T side has a lot to be looked at. Those smoke plays, the way they build it, is very exciting. So that is what I'm looking forward to. We are into the final half of the final map, and it's a 5-10. Luminosity still leading this one, but now they need to close it out, or Ninjas need to build that comeback pretty darn soon.
Absolutely. So we'll get into things pretty quickly here, but looking back at that last half, I mean, it was just an absolute dominance from Luminosity over there towards these B-site takes, constantly just crawling back from the depths, it seemed almost there too. NiP have these great starts. They're able to take down the first few players or so, but as soon as Luminosity are given even a smidge of site control there, it's just them controlling it from that point forward. So now we switch sides, however, we get to see what the Ninjas have on their own aggressive side. We'll get into things now, and let's take a look at what they're throwing Luminosity here on the pistol round.
This is quite nice. 4 players stacked. First sees it all, though. It was meant to maybe buy some time here, but no one's actually rotating all that much at the moment. Only Fallen's going to come back to support first, so maybe expecting a little bit more time on this Exist, keeping these 3 players dedicated towards B. So Fallen and Fur have to be the ones to deal with this.
Fur holding the close corner now. He's going to see if he can grab anything from NiP as soon as they try to go for the push. And they're going to explode now that we've seen that first bit of damage. There's Fallen actually grabbing a nice shot initially. Shuts down Get Right. Fur caught reload, though, as they actually wrap outside of this one. But there's Fur with a nice one. Mid-air grabs the headshot and a second one. Finally, Freiburg is able to take down Fur while he's mid-reload, but still the damage has been done at this point. 4v2, Exist and Freiburg up on the site. They still are not going to want to risk going for the plant right now. But for the time being, with that smoke and play back towards the main doorway, they've fended Luminosity off.
How was Farrell able to get away with that? But look at this play from Exist. This could be good. But Luminosity already predict this. They're watching this angle. coldzera and Fallen waiting so patiently, and they punish him as Freiburg gets eliminated. That was absolutely brilliant from Luminosity. And again, didn't over-rotate, didn't over-commit. I was a little worried when they only had the 2 players there. But when first allowed to back away, reposition, reload, and still get 2 of you, I guess you don't have to worry about that.
Wrecked.
Yep.
Is the short form of that one.
Yep.
Especially after they predict the boost back over there towards the balcony too. That was actually pretty nice to spot that. So, with that spotting and with that shutdown on the pistol, Luminosity keep the lead going for themselves here into the second half. Well, you will see the aggressive response coming out from the Ninjas because of the fact that they did not get the plant. So just going to be upgrading the Tech 9s. Not really a whole lot of utility behind it, so this is going to be a very direct, very solidified push towards one of these sites.
Tech 9s and 1 flash. So Freiburg, let's hope it's a good one.
Well, heading towards A, they're all going to be spread out too, so it's not even like that flashbang is going to do you a whole lot of good, because more than likely you're really only going to catch at most one of them. I do like, though, that they are not just going as like all 5 together. They're keeping a pretty big group, leaning towards an A hit, but if we actually did see Exist going towards drop to make some noise at the very least, that could drive a wedge on the rotation, and that's what could give it to him, but it seems like he's moving away from that now, so it is going to be a pretty raw attempt at taking control of a site here.
And to be fair, though, Fur's not really watching long either, so Fallen's could be the one to probably adjust to it. Fur can kind of come up and support as they work their way through kind of, you know, by the wooden fence, but Fallen's being pretty cautious on this one again. So actually NiP could have a good shot at this. They obviously don't know that yet. It depends how much damage Fallen can do at this point. But they certainly could be quite curious to see how well it goes for them, as no one's going to be there to meet them. But there you go. There's the damage that could have happened. 1-for-1 trades out really for Fallen, but it's going to be Fur to do the real dirty work, and it just leaves Exist alive. Only finding 1 is not good enough here for Luminosity. And look at that scoreline, starting to look very good for the Brazilians. Luminosity, 12-5.
And as they start things off hot for the guys on NiP, the real question is how are they going to bounce back now once they get the guns into their hands? Obviously, as we saw previously, Not really going to be looking for too much of a response now here in round number 3. Just going to be going with the Glocks. Literally nothing else being brought to the table. It's on round number 4 where one of their only chances to swing back into this game was going to happen. Actually, I think literally the exact same thing that Luminosity had to deal with back on does too.
Yep. And you can see waiting in the wings, Fallen and Fur. And it's going to be Fur with the SMG, so his MP9 will want to be put towards these guys. As soon as Fallen sees the info, especially seeing the bomb as well. That nade, oh, this is just an absolute bloodbath. Here comes the overrun. First just positions himself in the smoke. He turns around at the wrong time. He expects more pressure, but somehow doesn't land really. He does a lot of damage, but he doesn't get the kill. But again, an MP9 is not exactly what you want to be picking up when you have no armor and very few chances to get that up close and personal.
Even if he didn't get any kills, he did a whole load of damage. Friberg's down at 7, Get Right's at 24, Exists is at 39, so unless they can open up a flank, their odds of still bouncing this round back is going to be very slim. Exist, they heard him, so there we go.
Ouch.
Goldzera's going to find a quick kill onto Exist to eliminate him, and these final 3 will make a bit of a rash attempt to get into the A site. Not like they had much else of a choice here, but it is being dispatched pretty quickly by FNX.
And this is all time as well for NiP to discuss their upcoming intentions. Oh, Crossfire wasn't perfect, but he couldn't do much with it. Nice try from Friberg, but it's FNX to find in the end. Now look at the scoreline, 13-5. So very small margin for error coming out for NiP if they want to build back into this, whereas Luminosity, just a couple more rounds. But again, the gun rounds are what we need to be looking at, and this is the first real attempt, and there's that double up already out.
I think the most interesting thing to look at so far about this match in general is just how it seems like in a lot of Luminosity's matchups over the past 2 weeks, it's been Fallen. That's the big player that decides how dominant they are in the matchup. And we didn't really see too much of him here in this map specifically, but still, beyond that, it doesn't really matter because Luminosity are still just shutting things down.
And Fallen actually went for an early play then, just kind of pushing through A, but just got flashed and pushed back. So he would have been up there with Fur at this point, and maybe could have been overwhelmed. Arguably, he'd just wrecked them all, but still, leaving a 5v5, there's still much to be seen from these two, but that nade does a good bit of damage towards Pit. Deep smoke down towards A long. Can allow them to push through and try and take a fight if they want to, but first still found an angle, so they might need to clear that. Friberg could molly it out if he wants to, but Pit just decides to walk out anyway, feeds himself in towards Fur, who doesn't need any more help with that. Now 4v3, NiP at the disadvantage.
Forest now inside of that mid connector, but with already the ninjas being brought down so low, they have to still find a good way to get themselves outside of this. 2 smokes and 2 flashbangs. It's all the utility they have to control this site and hold it against the retake from the CTs. And the retakes are, in my opinion, what they have to worry about more, because that's what's been so strong for Luminosity. Pulling off these retakes against odds, which have looked absolutely dreadful for these guys, they've still have managed to do it round after round after round again. So here we go, smoke starting to boil into the site. The bomb is actually still really held far back, so I think they're going to use it to try and push these 2 in. If it goes great, then they will inject the bomb, but if not, then maybe try to round it over to B. Going so well initially, 1-for-1 trade. Exist does pick up FNX, but they're still stuck, and they can't actually get any control of the site itself.
And now Taco's come over to support as well. This has just gone even worse. You've got Coldzera holding the cross if that smoke dissipates, but 2 orbs still into play. Gonna make it difficult, and there you go. Coldzera's found Exist, and now it's just Get Right left in a 1v3. This is gonna be 14-5, 10 seconds, and there it is. Luminosity take another big step in the right direction here for them if they want to get to those finals. 14-5 now. This is not good enough from the ninjas.
It's not even close to good enough now. We've gone back to map number 1 as far as the progress they're making is concerned, and now it's just an absolute masterclass showing here from Luminosity, having no trouble at all dominating them in the early round. It's that aggressive, it's that bits of aggression that come out again to try and shut down the early pushers from Ninjas in Pajamas, and after that one they can just hold back onto the site, wait for NiP to throw the remaining assets at them, and then obviously 5-on-3 handled pretty quickly. And
this is one of the lovely setups that we kind of saw coming out in some of the very early events when Threat had joined them. It was something that was actually really nice. It's a timed piece towards B basically, and you can just go straight off the back of it. So Get Right's going to be the first in with Exist. The other 3 will now kind of follow off the back. So it gives you great site control, but now they need to follow it up because Coldzera's being left completely scot-free. He almost got the drop towards Get Right as well, but does manage to only take 1 in the end. But here comes that retake, and it's FNX doing the great deals of damage, leaving just Friberg alive. And this is going to be Luminosity on match point at this rate.
Friberg trying to pull off a miracle here in a 1v4. He's got a long time to do it, and he's hiding back a little bit to see if he can catch a push over here towards the broken wall. Might get it too in the form of FNX, but long range, still manages to find that shot, but now they know exactly where he is.
Yeah, the game's certainly up now. 1v3 is not going to be an easy one, and well, looking at their money as well, they've kind of forced into this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they don't have much to work with at all. Of course, they're going to go for anything they can in the next round, but it's not going to be pretty.
Trying to pull off a flank, but I believe the guys from Luminosity have predicted this quite nicely.
No one's watching it just yet, but I think the timing is going to be like, wait a minute.
Taco's moving back and forth to check thread every 5 seconds. There we go. Someone jumped out. Fer did spot that coming, and that'll shut down Freiburg and put Luminosity just one more round away from a slot in the finals here at the ESL Pro League Season 3 Championships.
Let's see what these guys can get for NiP. Their money is not perfect, but it's enough to get a decent rifle buy-in. Forrest going to go for the Galil, and we have a LG chant going on. Okay, there we go.
I like that.
All right, let's see how this one goes down. We've got the double orb coming out for the CT side, Luminosity, and again, NiP look like they're just going to go for this one. See what pace they bring to this. FNX, Taco, and coldzera will be the ones to wait on that B side. The Molly's going to slow him down to start with, at least.
Slowing down a little bit here. Forced up with the AKs. They've got some smokes to try and use under the site, but it looks like they're going to save them for the post plant if they can even get to that point. The first 2 kills in the favor of Luminosity. FNX and Taco finding them. Pit striking back a little bit, but FNX finding another one. It's Pit mainly that's dominating the playing field so far for the Ninjas. Down to a 2-on-3. They get a little bit of control, but they've lost their bomb. The Molly's going to roll out, prevent anybody from going in to retrieve that, most notably Pit. And as well, Forrest up on top of the platform. He's got his sights on nothing right now.
But now Pitt's got himself the AWP. Now Forrest they have no utility, as said, so if they want to get this back, it's with absolute brute force. And now Pitt, already finding 2, has to look for more. And look at this, they know exactly where that bomb is. They can play to the time. 56 seconds, Pitt's not done. He finds another! Pitt, that's 4 kills already. And now Fallen left in the 1v2 to close this game out. He takes the fight and he loses it! Pitt takes the ace to keep NiP alive in this tournament.
That's an incredible stride of confidence from Pit, too. As we've seen previously, NiP were already struggling, and Luminosity to a certain degree on their T side, too. Getting past that platform area has become a big area of contrition for both of these teams, and this is incredible. Grabs a shot on the op, trades it out to the AK. Bit sloppy, considering he definitely should have gone down to FNX there, but still manages to find that kill. And there you have it. Pit, with a nice ace, keeps NiP in this game for the time being.
And now look at the money coming out for Luminosity. They're down to CZs. It's still such a long road back for NiP. I just don't see it happening, but what a sick way to keep them in with a chance. And this is, again, those smokes that we were talking about, that beautiful set piece towards B. And good clear out from Get Right, keeping this one, you know, nice and calm, and the follow-on. So again, NiP going through the motions here and not made it costly yet.
So shutting it down pretty quickly here. Not a whole lot being put up by LG on this round, as obviously they don't bring a whole lot of firearms to the table in the first place. But Fallen, he's just going to post up outside the main doors and watch for any exits that he may be able to grab. Drop a couple things. Maybe keep the economy into the control to where they can just shut this down pretty quickly or force it into contrition. But this one will be another round for the Ninjas. Nicely played by Fallen. Now he's got an AK in hand. He might try to get a little bit more aggressive about it, but just hanging back now. And again, I think he's going to slowly back away from the site since he's got a decent gun worth saving.
Any damage is good damage, though. They've got so many rounds to play with him. And he's just going to be holding right on that edge and Get Right. Going to make a hell of a lot of sound. Easy pick up for Fallen there. So yeah, making this a little more costly for NiP, but at this point they'll be forcing into any round, or every round anyway, so you might as well just keep going on that. And keeping hold of that rifle is actually going to be pretty useful at this point. Let's see what Fallen and the boys do with it. They're on 15-7. And Mag 7 comes out again. Okay, double Mag 7, CZs. We've got they've forced up around it, I guess. Isn't far from ideal, but at this point, it's a long road for NiP here.
Just sort of evening themselves out on the 2K margin, since they're in a position where some of their players can afford to go for like a full rifle buy-up and others can't. So just even out the money a little bit here, and obviously going into the next round, they can focus on the pure buy-up there instead of just forcing it. They still got a decent cushion, so they can afford to sort of do rounds like that.
Taco just not hitting the shot. It looked on. He's having a tough time actually just landing the shots here. That looked so close, but coldzera seems to be finding all the reg that Taco couldn't with the Deagle. So making it a little more costly, taking down Get Right, but it's still a 3v4. That bomb should be going down. He's forced out by the molly. He's still doing damage. How is he still alive? What the hell was happening then? But now Fallen and Fur, the last 2 alive, still pretty locked out of this side.
And Fur is stuck behind this rock. They know he's there, so as that first shot misses the kill connection, it's going to be Pit that finds the final pickup. There's the crowd.
Hi, guys.
You know, back over in Austin, it was like pretty one-sided when you casted the like North American teams. Here, it's actually like pretty split right now. It's like half the crowd. It's pretty half and half, to be completely honest. I don't think one side dominates the other.
Not until they win and one gets a little more rowdy, you know what I mean? Or you get a couple of turncoats who decide to change their minds. But actually, really nice deep smoke there from Fallen. That could allow for maybe coldzera to peek up, but it looks like Get Right and Exist again going for this. And I'm wondering when we're going to see maybe an undoing of this kind of default strat they're trying to run here. coldzera's aggression gets met by Get Right, so that doesn't go too well, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Taco's going to position himself in that smoke again, and maybe just hope he hits a couple more of these shots. FNX has, so trades out okay so far, but it's still the CT side with the deficit.
Taco gonna get challenged pretty quickly here as the flashbang rolls back out, missing the connection on the first shot. He's got 2 to deal with here. Pit taking him down. Fallen responds, and there's a second one as well. Pit, I don't know what happened. Looks like a run out of ammo there, so all of a sudden we're into a 2-on-2, and also Luminosity, they've got no real good path back into the site. They've
got utility to work with, but Exist is going to try and get a nice position to watch this push up. He sees them both, but he falls. It's Fallen looking to take his side into the finals. One more man stands in that way, and it is Get Right. Can he find the last 2 here to save NiP again? The smoke goes down. He doesn't hear the defuse.
This timing on his wraparound chicken coop too, he's never going to give himself away. If no one checks it, then he's good. There's the first kill. Now the question is though, can he find the second one? He's still wrapping around. He's just wasting time. I don't even know if he has time anymore. Fur finds the kill, but it doesn't even look like it. No, it's cut the music, guys. No, none of that. There's no time left. NiP, nicely played by Get Right. Perfectly played by him, in fact. And again, it keeps his team in this match.
The timing on walking around just chicken coop then, keeping them busy, finding the first was sublime. There's very few people you want in that situation, but Get Right is one of them. 9-15 now. The money, again, looks pretty bad for Luminosity. They're down to the max 7s, the CZs, but they're on match point. They need one more. That's all they need. One mistake from NiP, and it's over and done with, but it's not just happening yet. But all the information has been seen, at least a good chunk of it, as Fur does fall.
The good thing, though, is that they do have the economy of LG on a leash to a certain degree. Like, they are keeping it in check. They're not letting them get, like, a huge stack up of guns and whatnot here, and they really can't afford to do that. As well as their own economy building up back and forth here. This is a good thing. Not any ridiculous trades, but this round may be an exception.
Not like this. All right. All right. That's...
1G's in the chat.
All right, 10-15. When's that next big buy coming out for Luminosity here? It's right about now, so again, the challenge starts.
And this is the pause coming in from Luminosity, too, I believe.
Would be surprised.
As now, they're going to need a few moments. Definitely are some things going wrong on the CT side. Getting into a buy round, too. Like seeing that coming out here. But also could just be taking a few moments to take some of the hype off of NiP.
Yeah, it's always good to get them to kind of slow down and calm down, because the thing is that NiP really fell back on their T side to doing that kind of B hit that's been, it's nothing new, it's one that we actually really enjoyed seeing through. I think it was at Katowice, something like that. We started to see it really coming out with those 3 players stacking up and doing the smokes over towards B. Then it's, I think, Exist and Get Right who just quickly play in towards the site as soon as it lands. Now, if Luminosity come up with maybe a counter to that, how do they want to face it? Because they're finding positions, but then just not landing the shots. You know, Taco's found a nice gap in the smoke to just watch the playthrough. It's getting close, but not close enough. So again, it also means that NiP can just switch something up, but they're on 10-15. They can't mess up one round here. So very, very pressured moment.
So the biggest thing for Luminosity too is like this is the sloppy stuff isn't just showing up now. We were seeing like, you know, little hints of this in the past couple of maps. Like I think one note, if we go back to map number 1 even, was Taco, and he had like this basically a free kill of, I forget exactly who it was from NiP's side, but it was a free kill of somebody just sitting in front of him, and he completely whiffs the spray, so the player's able to turn it on. There's been these little hints of inconsistency here or there from the side of Luminosity, and now I think it's showing big time on the second half as NiP are just looking extremely solid coming into this one, and they're definitely taking advantage of all those little tiny mistakes that are made by the CT side here.
But you've still got to feel that massive issue being there is the fact that they can't make a single mistake. They can't miss that one shot or just have that one problem. It's come down to seconds difference at this point, being the fact that Get Right was able to win. I guess he won that 1v2 at the end of it by just running that clock so low. But this is not an easy game for either side. NiP is starting to look a little more deadly, but it's Luminosity just so close here. That final step, that final hurdle is often the hardest, as I'm sure a couple, you know, unspecific NA teams can attest to. We won't be bringing them back up, but we are back on the way. 15-10 now. Luminosity on the verge of winning this, but NiP have suddenly remembered how they like to play this map, and it looks like a 4-play stack towards B is what they have in mind here for Luminosity.
Lining up the smokes, getting ready to toss those into the site, but a couple players are already ready to push themselves out onto the platform here too. Fur is posted up just outside of the broken wall, and Taco's here to support you. They've got the crossfire ready, and Fallen has found a first kill, kills the Lurker Forest as he tries to push his way back to the mid connector there. No flank going to be coming back in. Cold catching another one. He got Get Right low, and now he's going to be able to finish him off. This is where it's rough, but there's Pit with the first entry. They're not checking behind them, though, and Fur finds that kill, but it is traded out again by NiP.
2v3, this has to be massive from Freiburg and Exist. They have no smokes left, one flash on Freiburg, and there's still Fallen, there's still Taco, and there is still FNX. The bomb is loose, and Exist looking for an angle to find an opportunity. Taco's still up close. You've got Fallen just waiting in the background with the AWP, and now bomb's going to be faked. No one working off the back of it. Again, FNX slowly closing in. They're slowly starting to tighten that noose LG, and Exist knows what's coming his way, as does Freiburg, but this is incredibly tense.
Exist does not even want to take a chance on pushing forward to go for the plant right now, just sitting back, hoping he can bait someone out with a fake plant, but not finding anybody. Luminosity are stern as ever. They're not going to want to take any risks, but here we go. Now they're going to try something a little bit sneaky here. The flashbang goes over, doesn't really connect, however, and he loses his life to Fallen. Exist tries to bounce it back, but it's not going to work. FNX grabs the final kill, and it's Luminosity that will move on to the finals.
After what looked like NiP were coming back into it, Luminosity recover, they take the timeout, they win the round, and they win the game. A brilliant series from start to finish, both teams showing their strengths on their individual maps. But by the final one, the Brazilians have some fans here, clearly, and it will be getting to see them again in the finals.
I like the chant. It's a good one. I've never heard that one actually before, even when we were in Columbus.
Yeah, even Alex was saying Luminosity's quite hard to chant, but it seems they found a way. But again, great performance from both teams. I think a little disappointing for NiP. Overpass was certainly something they probably don't want to remember too much of. And for Luminosity, what a way to recover after Dust 2.
A valiant attempt to come back there on that final map, and for a moment there was some echoes of their match versus Team Liquid hailing in there to a certain degree, but Luminosity get things under control. They take the timeout that's needed, they figure out what exactly is going wrong, and they pick up that final round to close things out. Unfortunately, the lead being given very early on in the second half is a bit too much for them to recover from.
Now we need to find out who will be facing off against Luminosity in those finals.
Indeed, and that is going to be between Fnatic and G2. Definitely a bit of a surprise matchup there when we consider just how chaotic the group stages were. Thought it was going to be clear-cut here, but G2 do manage to find their way through it. And with that said, that'll be our next semifinal.
Exactly, next semi-final coming up is going to be a great one. G2 have it all to do, facing off against Fnatic. They might be slightly weaker without Olaf, but they can certainly bring some fire to that semi-final.